WPHT.com or call 800-688-6641. That's 800-688-6641. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Philo's got a world of entertainment for you to explore with just one subscription. Sign up today and start watching all the networks you love, like A&E, MTV, Discovery, Lifetime, Hallmark Channel, and so much more. Featuring current seasons of all the best drama, true crime, reality, and family-friendly shows you can't afford to miss. Get started today and unlock our library of over 75,000 movies and shows. And save all your favorites with the unlimited DVR so you can rewatch them anytime, anywhere for up to a year. Philo now includes access to AMC Plus. You can discover your next obsession from its collection of hit originals like Mad Men, The Walking Dead, Killing Eve, Orphan Black, and tons of blockbuster movies. There are no contracts, no commitments, and no hassles. For just $28 a month, Philo's a better way to watch TV. So what are you waiting for? Visit philo.tv and sign up today to start your 7-day free trial. That's PHILO.tv.
On Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
Hey everyone, good Friday. Welcome into the Dom Show. Big day, big news day. A lot of people stopping by in about 15 minutes forever. I've been trying to get Dan and Henry here to get Elise Stefanik on. Very tough, but they got her. We'll talk with her about what's going on in New York, but more importantly, President Trump and particularly women. I'll give you a place where President Trump is doing remarkably well. We've talked about it before. But Loshel, the bakery right here in our area where they have the cookie count every year, people are driving, they say in an article today, from miles away, from 2 hours away, because they may or may not get the cookies shipped there in time. And the count as of late last night, VP Harris, people have bought 889 Kamala Harris cookies. Substantial, right, for that bakery, not bad. And for President Trump, 12,558. Now, this bakery called the election in 2016. In other words, the winner then was Trump, but in 2020 they were off. Let's hope they're back on the way. Can you imagine 12,558? I think people are just all out in any way, shape, or form trying to be involved and saying in any kind of vote that's out there, be it a cookie vote or a real vote, we're there with Trump. Now, Vice President Harris today, and you have to imagine this, finally in Arizona, is going to the border today. I think it's Douglas, Arizona, someplace like that. And she's going to try to drill down on two things. One thing is fentanyl. Dave McCormick, of all people running in the Senate, is the best probably that I've heard on this about what he would do. Harris isn't serious about this, but she's going to say, you know what the pivot point is? Well, this was all in the border deal that Trump stopped. And again, I come back to these goofy Republicans who were actually going to sign this. Now, Byron Donalds, who has just arrived as a superstar, one of the real rising hopes of the Republican Party, the congressman from Florida, he tweeted out the other day, the reason it would be voted against by Byron Donalds and anybody rational is that border deal that did get some of these pesky Republicans to sign off, very few, but by doing that, it allows them to say it was bipartisan and Trump jumped in and doesn't want to protect you at the border. He listed the top 10 reasons. I'll give you a few of them that he voted against it. It would codify, catch, and then release them. It would let in 1.8 million more illegals. It would fund sanctuary cities. It would have taxpayer-funded lawyers to illegals. It would give work permits to illegals. It would do nothing to deport. Remember that in this election, Trump has to drill down on that more. Deport illegals. Nothing, no immediate wall funds, and weaker asylum screening. Just a few of the reasons from Byron Donalds why Anybody sane would not have voted for this. Why did Republicans do it? In the Senate, once again, they got lured into, we're going to do something about it. All that they did was give a cover to Harris. So I'm sure she'll stand somewhere where there's a wall, take credit for it, and then pivot to attacking Trump, not being serious about the border. Now, in any kind of polling, this isn't working overwhelmingly. But remember, this is a game of inches. Speaking of which, North Carolina, I think I have to give a lot of praise today, too. Now, you know, I'm in the camp that Trump's going to win North Carolina. But North Carolina just removed 747,000 from the voter rolls, citing ineligibility. In other words, the wrong address, they moved here, they're deceased. 747,000 from voter rolls. Here in Pennsylvania, of course, they fight to the death. Joe Frazier, last time I checked, sadly, may he rest in peace, Joe Frazier is still on the voting rolls. Will Joe vote again this time? And I'm sure he'll vote for a Democrat if he votes again. Also, something continuing in the presidential race. Salon magazine today, left-wing magazine, a hit piece with a new twist on Trump. Of course, they call him Hitlerian, fascist, and Vance too. But you're going to hear this talking point. I'm sure they're going to pick up on it. They're using the phrase mission creep. Remember mission creep from a place like Iraq? Meaning you go in with one mission, but then it gets to be more as the goal and it can't be reached. Well, they're saying that Trump has had mission creep from just being kind of like, a Mussolini, to now going full Hitler. This is not going to end, most people believe, sadly, given the ineffectiveness of the Secret Service, and there's more on that today, and given everything else out there, we're going to see more people driven to stop Hitler because that's what they're being told Trump is. But watch for this. Watch for this phrase, mission creep. That's where we're going with it. And I'll talk to Stefanik in about 15 minutes about that, about Mayor Adams of New York. Jonathan Turley, Fox News' Jonathan Turley, brilliant column today. And he argues there's less than meets the eye in the Eric Adams case. Now, I'm not going to go as far as what he says, but he says this is what mayors do. Talking about some of these benefits, some of them that go back, I believe, prior to him being mayor. And Turley's argument is my argument also, which is nobody was going to bother this guy until he started speaking out about illegal immigrants being in New York, overwhelming the system, very public, going after the federal government, and then you know what happened. Suddenly, we have all these charges. Turley, very gifted attorney, says this is very suspicious. It's Menendez, it's Cuellar, the congressman from near the Texas border who spoke out. Now, I'm not saying there's not massive corruption here in New York, but it's very curious, is it not, that everything seems to sail along. You don't hear anything like that until what? Until they go against their own tribe here, the Democrat Party. And then, suddenly, there is big trouble. There's a federal indictment on things that Turley says this is kind of what mayors do. Now, speaking of the government, the best material, and you got to realize, every day I'm going through literally 50 to 60 websites, podcasts, newspapers, CNNs, Fox News's. Best thing I saw today is from Kimberly Strassel over at the Wall Street Journal. Now, she writes, I'm not sure if it's once or twice a week, but she's brilliant. And she talks about, when Harris talks about the opportunity
I went
economy,
to school on a school bus.
really what she means is she wants to give Americans the opportunity to choose between whatever Democrats decide is best for them. And she advises Trump to go back to Ronald Reagan. I'm here from the government. I'm here to help you. Go back and make the point again and again and again. The government is the problem. This overreaching government on our rights, our monies. The government is the problem. It always comes down to that. And it has been on steroids in the Biden era. Really, this is Bidenomics too. That's what she's preaching. That's what she's about. So I hope Trump weaves that in a lot, makes that kind of a closing argument. That and are you better off than you were 4 years ago? These are both arguments back to Reagan. They're not old and hackneyed. They just have to be put in new clothes. They work every time. That's what the polling indicates. That's what people are hungry for. That's why she's saying it's going to be a pivot. We're going to look forward, not backward, all this type of stuff, when really the bottom line is that she's going to do exactly what Biden did, only worse. One other endorsement out there, and every 4 years, sometimes every 2 years, this group has to pay for stuff like this. The Philadelphia Firefighters and Paramedics Union has endorsed Dave McCormick for Senate, not Bob Casey Jr. Now, Casey, in the past, has been able to say to these unions, look, I'm going to give you whatever you want. I know you don't have the same values as I do, but we're all in this together. I'll give you what you want. Let's just move on here. Did not work this time. I'm not sure if they're going to endorse Trump or not. And it's only a small group here in Philadelphia, but every time that they do this, it's a curious thing to see how that's received and how all hell breaks loose. Now, I'll be on Inside Story on Channel 6. It's one of the real platforms that I'm honored, and it's thanks to you, the listeners, to be on once a month, sometimes more. And one of the things that came up, speaking of endorsements, that you'll hear talked about on the panel, is the issue of the Teamsters here locally. And I laid out the interview we had with their president, Hamilton, which is up on podcast, and which I'll tell you, it was tremendous stuff about the support that even he, in some way, shape, or form, after some sparring, had to admit that President Trump has by Teamsters. It was even more overwhelming here locally than it was on the national level. So watch for that. It's on 11:30 every Sunday. Side question today. With all this news, again, Secret Service yesterday, now it comes up that no one informed the person in charge, the actual person in charge, in the Butler debacle where Trump was shot in the ear, was unaware of the heightened level of security that would be needed due to threats from Iran. That just came out in the testimony yesterday. Something that we knew, but it was clarified. It was amplified here. So our side question today, and have some fun with this, even though it's a serious subject, really. Give us somebody real or fictional that you'd like to see head up Trump's security, because you think this person would be more qualified than anybody to head up their security. You know who I'm going to go with. I'm going to take off the board, of course, Jack Bauer. You can't beat Jack Bauer. Kiefer Sutherland, 24, particularly those first 2 seasons before they made him do a PSA because it was seen as anti-Muslim, the show. So I'll take Jack Bauer off. We'll get yours. And we got Elise Stefanik in the on-deck circle. By the way, we had on Jim Worthington, the Knack, out there in Bucks County. Don't forget this weekend bringing J.D. Vance in to speak at a rally out there. It's a great spot. And he told me yesterday, Alina Habba, the president's lawyer, also will be at that event. So you can register at the TrumpForce47.com and get a seat. It's going to be a spectacular event with Vance. So we have coming up today, too, on the show, Tommy John. What show in America has Elise Stefanik and Tommy John? Because Tommy John is a Trump supporter, big-time Trump supporter. Yeah, the pitcher, won 288 games. He was doing an interview with the Yankees broadcast, and he said he's not in the Hall of Fame maybe because he's a Trump supporter. And I just thought the Tommy John surgery, this into politics, and he is a big Trump supporter. He'll be here for a few minutes, just a bit of, the sideshow that this election has become. So all that is in play. Elise Stefanik, Congresswoman Stefanik from the New York area, is next. Get in at 855-839-1210, AT&T and Verizon Wireless, all you have to do is just push pound 1210. Dom Giordano Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Cancer, a scary word, but not so scary if you have the right team. Hi, this is John DeMasi, host of Health Watch, Sundays at 8 and again at 4 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. And that team is Dr. Molly Fantasia and the medical staff at Innovative Medical Associates. Yes, cancer is a scary word and a difficult condition if you've been diagnosed. Over the years, the staff at Innovative Medical Associates has helped hundreds of patients with their unique medical hydration protocols. Cancer support is a large part of the practice at Innovative Medical Associates.
We believe in medical hydration. We've improved it so much that we are able to help people across the board with challenges before they become chronic.
Talk about improving your quality of life. Most likely, that'll happen when you visit Innovative Medical Associates. Check them out on the web at innovativemedicalassociates.com or call 856-489-0505 to schedule your initial complimentary consultation.
Pastor Brad Lacey here, First Baptist Church, Conshohocken. Join us Saturdays for the great message and be blessed. 5 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 1210. WPHT.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are having two fabulous back-to-school specials. The 2024 S60 front-wheel drive sedan and the exciting electric C40. Each can be leased for 36 months for $369. Do-it-inception would be a down payment and taxes and registration fees. But in New Jersey, the C40 has no tax. The $369 is an incredible payment on each of these Cherry Hill Volvos. Visit Cherry Hill Volvo. Our team would be honored to partner with you.
See Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra at the Media Theater in Media, Saturday, November 16th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
This is a special alert to anyone owing the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes or with unfiled tax returns. Write this number down, 800-585-0344. The IRS has ended COVID forgiveness and they are cracking down. Call Tax Relief Helpers now to hear about our tax debt reduction programs. If you're facing liens, levies, an audit, wage garnishment, or already in a payment plan, we still can help you. You may qualify to have your tax debt settled for a mere fraction of what you owe or for other resolution programs. Tax Relief Helpers has tax agents available now for a free consultation. TRH has already helped thousands of taxpayers qualify for these generous relief programs, earning them an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. If you or your business owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands to the IRS, you don't have to be afraid anymore. Call our relief hotline now to see what savings you may qualify for at 800-585-0344. 800-585-0344. Once again, that's 800-585-0344.
At PGW, safety is essential to delivering clean, reliable natural gas to Philadelphia homes and businesses. If you smell gas, call PGW at 215-235-1212. Don't miss the Education Show with Dom Giordano every Sunday morning at 5:30. Find out how you can help your child or grandchild succeed. Sponsored by New Hope Academy.
Hey, Clementon. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. WPHT.
All right, Dom Giordano Show, big issues, big gas. How long have we tried to get Congresswoman Stefanik on the show? She's with us now. Congresswoman Elise Stefanik here in Philadelphia. Congresswoman, thank you. Thanks for coming on today.
Great to join you today.
Well, first, before we get to the campaign, it's been a while, but thank you for what you did. That was as buttoned up and as thorough during the college president's moment, anti-Semitism, et cetera. What was going through your head during that period of time? Were you thinking, yeah, once and for all, these people are being exposed?
I'll tell you, I was so disappointed, and I asked that last question, and the question was this: does calling for the genocide of Jews violate your university's code of conduct? And I assumed they would all say yes. It was shocking to me that it has become so morally bankrupt and, frankly, academically bankrupt at these quote-unquote most elite higher ed institutions. So it is now the most viewed testimony in the history of the United States Congress. There have now been 5 college presidents who have been fired. That's Harvard, Penn, Cornell, Rutgers, as well as, I'm forgetting one right now, that in Colombia, of course,
Yes.
Colombia with the pro-Hamas encampment. And it's because of their failure to lead these institutions, and we held them accountable. These schools felt entitled to nearly $1 billion per school of U.S. taxpayer dollars, and yet they're not representing American values. So this is long overdue, and it set off an earthquake in higher ed where we need to rein these schools in, hold them accountable for their failure to ensure Title VI protections for Jewish students and for their groupthink, radical intellectual rot that is happening, and really this, move to the far left of colleges and universities. So there's a lot of work to do. I'm committed to doing it for the long run, and President Trump, I know, is committed to making sure that we root out the rot in these colleges as well.
Well, I would add, though, you're being a bit modest. Your instincts there were spot on about what was going to happen, and that's why I'm thrilled to have you here. First, let's talk about the campaign in general, and then I want to talk a little bit about female voters, particularly here in the Pennsylvania suburbs, where I think that's where some Trump work needs to be done. What are you seeing at this point for the final push, the final 38 days or so?
This election is a choice. It's a choice between a continuation of historic inflation, where Kamala Harris was the deciding vote that led to Joe Biden's Inflation Expansion Act. It's a choice between the secure border under President Trump versus the wide open, catastrophic border crisis with Kamala Harris as the open borders are. It is a choice between energy independence and supporting those important fracking jobs in Pennsylvania versus Kamala Harris, who wants to ban fracking in Pennsylvania, despite the fact that she's trying to cover up her previous positions desperately. And it's a choice between a strong commander-in-chief who has a record of strengthening our national security with the world at peace versus the chaos and catastrophe under Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Kamala Harris was the last person in the room when Joe Biden made the decision for the catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan. And, of course, you see our most precious ally, Israel, under attack. So it is all on the line this election cycle, and voters need to know that Kamala Harris has had 4 years. She created these crises and oftentimes was either the deciding vote or designated by Joe Biden to lead key issues like the border that she has failed. So when she says on day one, we know what day one looks like. It's a failure versus the economic success, the support for American energy, the support for American manufacturing and national security around the world under President Trump. That's the choice this election cycle.
Congresswoman, I had on the regional Teamsters this week, and even they had to admit that President Trump, by another poll here just in Pennsylvania, has broken through. No Republican that I'm thinking of right now, maybe, but nobody could break through to that group like Trump has. Yet we're still experiencing potentially some work to be done with women in the suburbs of Philadelphia, which could be determinative. So I know we don't want to just pitch messages, the broad message you just said, but how is it that Trump talked about being a protector of women this week? I don't think that was as effective. What would you say he could talk about that women particularly can buy into?
Well, first of all, President Trump delivered the greatest economic boost for American women of any modern-day president. And compare that to Kamala Harris, who created this historic inflation crisis. Women are the primary, we balance our checkbooks for our families. And this inflation crisis, go in the grocery store, that impacts women and men, but it particularly hurts working women. If you look at child care, it was President Trump who doubled the child tax credit. He also made child care more affordable. Kamala Harris, it's become worse. It is less affordable. It is more difficult, more costly because of inflation for hardworking families. President Trump has supported economic opportunity for women. It was the highest number of women ever in the workplace in history under President Trump. And yet you see unemployment challenges. You see challenges for small businesses to start under Kamala Harris. Compare that to President Trump. You had historic numbers of women small business owners and entrepreneurs. Another issue that I think is very important to all voters, but particularly women, is safety and security. This crime crisis is because of the defund the police policies and rhetoric of Kamala Harris and today's Democrat Party. You see a skyrocketing of crime, not just in Philadelphia, but suburbs as well, and rural communities. And it is because Kamala Harris has brought in the defund the police left. She herself has donated to those bail funds to release violent criminals when she donated to that fund in Minnesota, versus Trump, who is law and order and has earned the endorsements of law enforcement agencies because he stands for border security. And then the border crisis is also a women's issue because the border crisis impacts every community. If you look at the leading cause of death for adult Americans aged 18 to 35, it's fentanyl poisoning.
Exactly.
And that's coming across our southern border. And every family knows someone or has been directly touched by fentanyl poisoning because of this border crisis. And Kamala Harris is the border czar. We had the most secure border under President Trump, and I worked with him on the Comprehensive Addiction and Recovery Act to address the addiction crisis, to address fentanyl, and yet this administration has gotten worse under Joe Biden and Harris. So those are three key issues that specifically impact women. And we are going to work hard to make sure that women voters turn out and that they see the record of President Trump versus the failures of Kamala Harris.
Speaking of crime, alleged crime, I'll say, Mayor Adams yesterday, now I'm in a camp, and I'm not sure where you are, it says that Adams, like corruption here in Philadelphia, has been doing these things for years. Some of them go back pretty far. But when he publicly had that forum about illegal immigrants in New York, calling out the Biden administration, really at the heart of it, that really struck a blow. Now we see down the road that he's under multiple indictments.
Sure. So my take on Eric Adams is he should resign. And look, we have had a cult of corruption in New York's Democrat Party, and I think that's actually rampant in the Democrat Party across the country. We had a governor who was forced out, Andrew Cuomo, forced out in disgrace. You had Kathy Hochul, the least popular governor right now. She has been infiltrated by the Chinese Communist Party. That was another high-profile indictment just recently. And now Eric Adams, who is taking foreign dollars, essentially, while he is in position of elected office as New York City mayor, and bribery. That's illegal, and it is part of today's Democrat Party. And it goes all the way to the White House with Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris has watched this and allowed this to happen in this administration. So it is a cult of corruption. Now, when it comes to the illegal crisis, you bet New York City has struggled. But this is also the same mayor, Eric Adams, who supported sanctuary city policies, which led to the illegal crisis. So, yeah, he gave one speech that was tough on the Biden administration, but look at his record where New York City rolled out the red carpet for illegals, and now politically it's turning against them because New York City taxpayers are seeing the crime skyrocketing, and they know that they're footing the bill to the tune of billions of dollars, and yet New York City kids are sent home from school. So that's why you're seeing Republicans continue to gain inroads at the ballot box in New York State.
I see you as a person very detail-oriented, very much following through on it. The Secret Service, I'm not sure if you're on any of the committees associated with it. How did we get, it's got to be more than just DEI nonsense, I think, from one of the most prized organizations maybe 10, 15, or 20 years ago, at least we thought it was, to now the arrogance and the incompetency mixed together when it comes to President Trump?
We've seen that in a lot of these agencies, unfortunately. The FBI, which is rotten in terms of the politicization of those agencies, and I think there needs to be a deep dive into the Secret Service. I'm not on the committee looking into the assassination attempts, but I am on the Intelligence Committee, and I have real concerns about the Secret Service's inability institutionally to provide the protection that is necessary for President Trump. And my fear is these agencies are being so politicized as arms of the Biden administration and today's Democrat Party that they have moved away from their mission. Now, when it comes to the agents, President Trump is very grateful for his agents who put their lives on the line every day, but there are cultural and management problems at that agency, particularly after Pennsylvania. A good leader takes accountability and provides answers. You had the former head of the Secret Service, who was the head at that time, refuse to answer any questions or give a public statement after the first assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. That is unacceptable. It's one of the reasons why she was forced to resign and got such bad feedback, not just from Republicans, but Democrats as well. So a lot of work we need to fix these agencies to make sure that they meet their mission, and that's why this investigation is so important.
Parting question for you. You are on the Intelligence Committee. The president with Zelensky, moments ago, there was a thing where the president said he could do something with Putin, and Zelensky interrupted there. What are your constituents? Where are we on Ukraine right now? And you're on the Intelligence Committee, too.
My major concern is that you have U.S. taxpayer dollars going without a strategic vision from an American president as to how to bring peace to the region. President Trump will bring peace to the region, as he said. He should be able to do that immediately, and yet you have Biden, who is feckless and a weak American president. And let's not forget, this Russian invasion of Ukraine would have never happened were President Trump in office. It was because of Joe Biden's weakness that Putin was able to do that. And this was after the Nord Stream 2 giveaway, the energy pipeline giveaway that Biden gave to Vladimir Putin. So I support President Trump's America First national security policy. That delivered in his first term, and it's going to deliver in the next term.
Congresswoman, thank you so much. Please come back before the election. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dom.
All right, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik here on Talk Radio 1210. Nice work there, Dan. I know this was a long time type of thing. You even met one of her staffers.
I went to a bachelor party with one of our communications people.
Look, we go to levels here that are I don't want to know what happens, how the sausage is made here in the producer's room. It doesn't matter.
Spent some time in Cancun with the guy, and it took this long to get. Like, what the hell's going on?
Exactly. You know some of the stories behind the scenes of how guests get on here. Oh, my God.
Yeah, and I got blackmail on this guy, too. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. All right, phone lines, 855-839-1210. You got the side question today. I gave you mine. Jack Bauer, definitely. Real or fictional, who would you want in charge of security for President Trump, given all the difficulties? Henry, do you have one?
Yes, I have two, actually, if that's all right.
Okay, sure.
Sure. I'm going to go with my fictional one first. It would be the Terminator.
Okay.
No one I want on my side more.
Okay.
No stopping him. And then I'll go with one in real life. Big Dom DeSandro.
Oh,
Philadelphia Eagles.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't like that guy even a little bit.
Keeping our sidelines safe.
He gives discredit to the Dom name. He's the only other prominent Dom in Philadelphia. All right.
Man.
Yeah, but I saw him holding Lane Johnson off the field the other day, and he was almost as big.
Yeah.
Which is,
I mean, if we ever need him, I'm sure Stout can show him a few moves and get him on the line.
There you go.
Who'd you take off the board? I was running around with
Jack
Stefanik.
Bauer.
Oh, okay.
Bauer, yeah.
Jack Bauer. I'm going to take off a big one, Dom. Let's see if I can get this going. Yeah, you got to take off James Bond, right?
Oh, of course.
So James Bond will be one of mine. The other, a little bit messier, maybe. But Mike Ehrmantraut, it seems like every time he does something, does it right?
You know, what's the best Mike Ehrmantraut moment?
I don't know. Tell me.
I think in Breaking Bad, when they go, and just think of what they had to do with the Mexican drug lord. They took Jesse there. They said he couldn't drink the special liqueur. He's an addict. Gus knew what he was going to do, go and throw up so he wouldn't die. Mike is sneaking up on the guy, couldn't have a gun, but he was going to garrote him from behind, the one guy that was left there.
I love it.
Yeah. All right, so 855-839-1210. And yes, Tommy John is on the show today. I'll ask him a number of things, including his Trump support. Is it a joke or not? Appears that he might think it was joking why he's not in the Hall of Fame. I don't know. All right, so hit us. Who should head up?
Quick producer note
Trump?
there, too,
Yes.
Dom. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT, @1210WPHT. Go like and subscribe, please. Like and subscribe, because today Tommy John will be joining us live via video if everything goes correctly.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to see Tommy himself talk with Dom live on video, we do have that video component always going at YouTube. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT.
I thought you were going to tell them I have the Channel 6 suit on today.
Well, you do look good. I thought you dressed up for Tommy John, though.
Yeah, they certainly can do that. I'm going to ask Tommy John, but I asked everybody that ever throws anything. Take a look at me. Do I look like I could throw a football 40 yards? All right, maybe I need
Sad
Tommy
thing, I don't know if I'll be able to see you. That's
is that in the budget, Tommy John surgery, in order to throw a football 40 yards? I might have to consider it. All right.
Elective Tommy John surgery.
Elective for a
Kids
talk
get
radio
that nowadays, though.
Do they really?
Yeah. Just as a preventative measure. It's like, if I throw this hard, I'm going to do it anyway.
You're just going to take your Achilles and move it up to your elbow just for the hell of it?
Why not?
Okay.
Going to the pros, baby.
All right, 855-839-1210. You got to get in here. Last show of the week. And we got Tommy John, Dave McCormick coming up, and some others. And the side question, though, who should head up the Trump detail? Be creative. Be outside the box. You know, it's so important to make sure our families have the essentials, food, shelter, and, of course, pure, clean drinking water. There's a lot of news about drinking water these days. Just do what I did. Count on Martin Water Conditioning to secure your family's drinking water. The Kinetico system removes all the impurities from your water. What comes out of the tap? Crystal clear, all-natural water. Not only is it the best tasting water ever, it provides peace of mind knowing that your family's water is pure and clean.
Water.
The Martin Water Conditioning family is passionate about water, and they'll put their 46 years of experience to work for you. Their customer service and attention to detail are just fantastic. They have quite a niche, by the way, in this field. So they come out to your home. Dwayne was our guy.
What field's that, Dom?
It's a field of water conditioning and purification. That's the niche.
Water.
And they are number one. Dwayne was our guy. Whoever you get, they are immaculate when they come out, and they really love showing you the result, the solution. So it's martinwater.com. That's where you go, or 800-887-7555. 800-887-7555.
This month, Talk Radio 1210's Veteran Spotlight salutes U.S. Army veteran Rebecca Cornell. Hi, Nick here. Join us this Wednesday morning as we shine a spotlight on this outstanding local veteran in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation, celebrating their remarkable commitment to community service and their exceptional service in the military. Presented by Window Nation. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com. Our Veteran Spotlight is Wednesday morning on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
Philo's got a world of entertainment for you to explore with just one subscription. Sign up today and start watching all the networks you love, like A&E, MTV, Discovery, VH1, TLC, Lifetime, Hallmark Channel, and so much more. Featuring current seasons of all the best drama, true crime, reality, and family-friendly shows you can't afford to miss. And with up to 3 streams at once, you'll never have to fight about what to watch. Get started today and unlock our library of over 75,000 movies and shows, and save all your favorites with the unlimited DVR, so you can rewatch them anytime, anywhere, for up to a year. Philo now includes access to AMC Plus. You can discover your next obsession from its collection of hit originals like Mad Men, The Walking Dead, Killing Eve, Orphan Black, and tons of blockbuster movies. There are no contracts, no commitments, and no hassles. For just $28 a month, Philo's a better way to watch TV. So what are you waiting for? Visit philo.tv and sign up today to start your 7-day free trial. That's philo.tv.
With the federal government allowing over 20 million non-residents into our country to participate in social programs that they aren't paying for, the taxes on your portfolio are set to skyrocket.
Barry Kaiser. I started with Crash Proof Retirement in 2005. With this year's election, I'm concerned there will be continued high spending, providing opportunities for people who aren't even American citizens. Taxes would continue to go up and families would have a much more difficult time living. But I don't have to be concerned financially because I've been through 2 market crashes since I've been in Crash Proof Retirement, and I have not lost a penny. With the Crash Proof Retirement system, I've earned over 10%. Once it is credited, you never lose it. With Crash Proof Retirement, I'm election proof.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at Spring Mill Country Club on October 16th, 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I have a serious heart condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, or HCM. Some symptoms include being short of breath, feeling tired, or having dizziness or chest pain. I still had symptoms on my beta blocker, so I asked my cardiologist about any treatment advances. It was a breakthrough for me. That's why I'm working with Bristol Myers Squibb to raise awareness about HCM and to help others like me. Talk to your cardiologist today and visit hcmrealtalk.com for more information.
Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb.
Julia owed the IRS thousands.
I was paralyzed with fear.
Then
I heard a commercial for Optima Tax Relief.
Optima Tax Relief is the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and experts in the Fresh Start Initiative.
Optima Tax Relief settled my IRS tax bill.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
It was amazing.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Live from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter.
All right, it is Dom time. Welcome in. So I just mentioned we got to get Elise Stefanik on. That was brilliant stuff. And again, I make the point. I didn't want to, go too far with her with women. We get the point. What Trump did the other day about the protector. You heard what she said. There's a lot there that could be said. That kind of contrast of how well women did. Everyone, but women in particular, we're trying to reach here during the Trump years versus now. That's the type of stuff to try if you're going to be pitching directly in that manner where there's work to be done. All right, so President Trump with Zelensky, Senator Johnson from Wisconsin says Zelensky wanted to do a peace agreement with Putin before the war started. My guess is the U.S. egged him on. All right, so meaning egged on this situation.
You want that audio?
Yeah, when you have a chance, Dan.
I got it. We're good.
Would you have it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here's a little bit what Johnson's saying, and the notion that Ukraine is a front and center issue ultimately is not going to work. But before we play that, I'll give you the two things. One, it helps Trump to make the broader point. This didn't happen during the Trump years because Putin knew there's any number of things Trump might do. And I think that's a fair point. It's evidence. It's right there. As long as Trump doesn't go too far and talk about, this great relationship with Putin and all that, that's not a winner. That allows them to bring up the whole rubles, the whole nonsense. Trump's got the upper hand. Just don't overplay it is what I'm saying here. Here's Ron Johnson, Zelensky today, centerpiece. Here's what he said.
Are you in support of that? Are we creating here an endless war? Is that what we're supporting?
Well, that's what we have been supporting. I have a unique perspective on this, Stuart, because I was the only member of Congress that attended Zelensky's inauguration. I went back a couple months later with Senator Chris Murphy. In that meeting, I'm quite sure it was at that meeting, Zelensky was telling us that he wanted to do a peace agreement with Putin at that point in time. Now, there's no war, there's no invasion at that point in time. This is in 2020. But he wanted to do a peace agreement with Putin because he realized he couldn't dislodge Russia from Crimea or from eastern Ukraine. He recognized that reality. He knew it wouldn't be popular, but he was willing to acknowledge that reality. My guess is the United States egged him on, basically told him, we'll help you dislodge Putin, when it's completely impossible, an unrealistic goal. And that resulted in the war, and that resulted in the continuation of this war. It was literally Boris Johnson at the behest of Joe Biden, we are told, that flew into the peace talks in Istanbul a few weeks after the war started and blew up those peace talks. And so now we have this bloody stalemate. Vladimir Putin will not lose this war. He will not lose it. The only way this ends is in a settlement. I'm not going to like the settlement, but every day that goes by, that settlement gets worse and worse because more Ukrainians, more Russian conscripts. I take no joy in that they'll be dying as well, and more Ukraine gets destroyed. So this war has to end. President Trump is exactly right.
I'll leave it right there. Senator Ron
Okay,
Johnson.
all right. So it's a question of the details on this and what people are going to live with. Is this going to be a significant thing at this point in time in this election? I don't think so. I don't think people are going to vote on Ukraine as much as Zelensky's here. I gave you the two angles this brings up. This didn't happen under Trump. And then the angle of Putin back into the picture and all those allegations around that. I don't think it'll come up in the vice presidential debate, which I think is going to be for a VP debate rather significant coming up this week. All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210. The other thing out there today with Harris going to the border, you have all kinds of Democrat progressive pundits lining up, and what they want to bring up that they think is a winner is they're saying, I can't believe the majority of Americans are in favor of, their words, mass deportation. Well, you know what? I do believe it. Now, Trump has been a bit fuzzy on the details, mainly saying going after criminals, and he's right to do that. He's got control of this issue. But people are in favor of this. They've had it. Democrats don't believe that. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to tell us they're trying to get bogged down in the details. Overnight, we're not going to deport 20 million people. That's true. It's not about that. Maybe some of it will be self-deportation. And then they bring up the most sympathetic figures and saying, really, you're going to deport them? Or is it mainly we are going to strip away some of the worst examples that are here? And that's what people want done. Maybe they don't think they're signing off for this process of deporting 20 million people. But they are signing off on the idea that it would be a significant number, not just 5 people here and 10 people there. I know the polling indicates it. Gut instinct, it's a winner. Democrats can't accept that. So 855-839-1210, that's how you get on board. Harris will do 2 things today. She'll talk about fentanyl. She'll talk about she's got the angle on this because she wants more border agents. Trump wouldn't sign off on that. Again, this was an unforced error. These stupid Republicans in the Senate giving them play with this. But I gave you at the top of the show today, Byron Donalds is one of the best on this. All the things that were in that bill that were unacceptable to the average American. And I think Republicans ought to be talking about that. Pick out 2 or 3 points and tell them why this bill was a fraud. In addition to which, I'll say it to you, they can't say it. They got to be punished for this. They got to be punished for running wild and letting millions of people unvetted into the country. And then at the 11th hour saying, oh, let's do a bill. Then once the election's over, about a year from now or few or less, they'll be back to running wild again. All right, 855-839-1210. You get on board. By the way, Dave McCormick will be here at 2:30. I think he's got excellent ideas, aggressive ideas on fentanyl. I mean, I think we ought to attack the drug labs. We know where they are. We can do it with drones. We don't need to put American military forces on the ground in Mexico. Yeah, Mexico. How are your cholesterol levels? Managing healthy cholesterol is key to a strong heart and overall wellness. And for over 38 years, Rescue Natural Supplements has been a trusted ally in helping people reach those cholesterol goals. I've counted on Rescue for years, and with good reason. Their range of supplements is designed to meet your specific needs, from omega-3s to red yeast rice and more. Take charge of your heart health today. Use the code DROP at checkout. Double your order on any cholesterol product for free. Call them at 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable product consultant or use the code online when you visit res-q.com, res-q.com. Remember, though, use that code DROP, D-R-O-P, buy one, get one free on Rescue Cholesterol products. Double up your cholesterol support today. Use the code DROP at res-q.com.
Your weeknights are getting a whole lot better. Starting Monday, October 7th with Jimmy Fallon, 7 to 10 p.m.
I met Diddy. Diddy had a restaurant, and he used to walk around with a bottle of champagne in his hands, which is a little weird. You know what I'm saying? If the guy who's the proprietor is drinking straight out of the bottle, it makes you wonder if the Board of Health has some reservations.
And Walter Sterling, 10 to 1.
I hate tolls. I don't believe in them charging $1 more to go over the river. What the hell is that about? What did I get for that going from $5 to $6? These are criminal events.
Listen weeknights starting October 7th on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Chase wants everyone to be able to have a place of their own. That's why we offer mortgages that help you purchase your new home with down payments as low as 3%. To find out more about our low down payment options and other ways Chase can make your home buying dreams a reality, visit chase.com/homebuyer or your local Chase branch. Loan amount, loan value, and loan product type limits apply. Geographic restrictions may apply for jumbo loans. Products are subject to credit and property approval. Program terms are subject to change without notice. Other limitations and restrictions apply. Home lending products provided by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC, equal housing opportunity.
40 days to lose up to 40-plus pounds with NJ Diet. It only takes 40 days to lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40-plus pounds. NJ Diet uses your hair, saliva, and blood work to personalize supplements that will target your hormonal imbalances so you can lose that weight. Then NJ Diet uses your DNA info to help you keep it off. Call Dr. T, 855-5NJ-DIET, or go to njdiet.com. 40 days up to 40 pounds, 40 days up to 40 pounds, NJ Diet.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Dan tells me that Tommy John is in the bullpen, warming up. Is he not in the Hall of Fame because of his support of Trump? It may have been sort of an offhand comment, but he's apparently a Trump supporter. Guy wins 288 games, and producer Henry doesn't want him in the Hall of Fame.
I did not say those. Putting words in my mouth like that.
Now, come on.
We're high, right? Well, he didn't win 300. Then they bring up Jamie Moyer. Well, does Jamie Moyer belong here? Come on, I'm setting some kind of line. It's a Tommy John line. Under that line, you're not in there. And Dan, you notice that this procedure now, they're not even giving him credit on that. They're putting in some medical term before they say Tommy John.
Yeah, they're just called the UCL surgery now.
Yeah, right.
It's like
yeah.
they're trying to erase the name of Tommy John surgery. What the hell's going on?
No, I mean, a medical, having your name on something medical, that's
amazing.
An achievement right there.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to...
hey, before you go, I just want to say also, Tommy being an Indiana guy, I'm looking forward to hearing that. But I want you to know this. Tommy was recruited as a basketball player for UK, but instead chose baseball, University of Kentucky. And a guy from Indiana going to Kentucky is not a good thing to hear. But thankfully he chose baseball and had that great career.
I bet he will say it's a niche, too. I'm counting on that.
Niche, Tom. It's niche.
Let's go to Alex in Springfield. Alex, thanks for the week. Go right ahead, Alex. Yo, Alex. Go ahead. Yes.
Okay, so with Zelensky meeting with Trump, personally, I could care less
Trump says that he gets along with Putin. I just want to stop sending all this money to Ukraine. I do not care about Ukraine one iota. If Putin takes Ukraine, he's not going to take Poland and Europe and everything else and get into a full all-out war with NATO. That's not going to happen.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I know that's very hard to see what he would do. I mean, that means we should be pushing to get a settlement, though. It is important, and the importance is to get a settlement here.
Yes, but what I want to talk about is Mexico.
Yes.
Mexico, by far, is, I think, our biggest adversary. They're right on our border. I am sick and tired of this crap. I want Trump to come out and say, when I'm in office, it doesn't matter if we have to do it by land, air, or sea. We are going into Mexico, and we are wiping the cartel out. I don't care if they have to bring in bulldozers and clear every tree out of the Amazon forest. This has to come to an end.
Thanks, Alex. I'm going to ask Dave McCormick that. He's talked about drones. He's talked about several things. I'm not sure if he endorses that. I do. That the next president, and DeSantis has been on this as much as Trump or more, that we have the ability and we should take out their drug laboratories, and to Alex's point, where they are. And Mexico is at least an adversary, if not an enemy. Now, China is the biggest enemy still. Source of fentanyl, then to Mexico. But this game that they're on the other side of a border, all the negative comes our way, and then fentanyl comes our way again. He's right. I'm not sure what Trump will say more about that coming up. Maybe something today. Harris certainly isn't saying that. She's going to talk about our partners. She wants to put one more Border Patrol agent, I believe, every 10 miles. You know, that's not going to do it. That's not going to do it based upon what we've seen here. And it has nothing to do with flying people into the country that shouldn't be here. All right, so Tommy John coming up. And Dan, tell people where they can go to see Tommy warming up in the bullpen.
Yeah, we're going to be live, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. As we always are here on the radio show, we have that video component, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Tommy will be joining via video this time, so tune in. Go over there. Please like and subscribe. We'd highly appreciate it.
Yeah, and the whole premise, we saw this the other day in an interview of the Yankees channel. They were asking him, why are you not in the Hall of Fame? 288 wins.
Yeah.
Who's on the Hall of Fame voters?
He should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know why he's being kept out.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. It's got to be Trump. Now, I'm sure being on the Dom Giordano program will put him over the
top. You
top.
really think it's Trump, though?
Well, it doesn't help him. It hurts him, probably.
Yeah.
From what I can tell.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the sole thing.
No.
Yeah,
well, we'll ask him about it. 855-839-1210. Jump in now.
Following is a paid commercial message.
A lot of congressmen talk about real results, but Brian Fitzpatrick actually delivers for real people like Tom.
I believe that Congressman Fitzpatrick does have his finger on the pulse, does feel the needs of businesses, and recognizes what small businesses mean to Main Street America.
Janice.
I would say 100% that I support Brian Fitzpatrick for Congress. I know that he has our interests at heart. He's just really a man of great integrity.
And Pete.
Congressman Fitzpatrick is very responsive, especially to veterans' needs. I can't think of any other person I'd rather see as my congressman than Brian Fitzpatrick.
Delivering for Pennsylvania. That's Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick. Vote on or before Election Day, November 5th. Paid for by America's Credit Unions PAC of Credit Union National Association, Inc., americascreditunions.org, and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. America's Credit Unions PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-688-6641.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-688-6641. That's 800-688-6641.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121.
Join us to conquer childhood cancer on Sunday, September 29th for Children's Hospital of Philadelphia's Parkway Run and Walk, presented by Citadel Credit Union. All funds raised support CHOP's Cancer Center. Learn more and register today at parkway.chop.edu.
With so much uncertainty in the world today, you may find yourself wondering, is now even the right time to retire?
And so many people are waiting, and those folks are going to be waiting a really long time, I hate to say, because there's no perfect time. The market is always unpredictable and volatile.
Fortunately, Jim Cipriotti has been helping get people to, through, and beyond retirement for over 25 years. And each week, he wants to help give you that freedom to retire. Listen to Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti, Saturday mornings at 9 and Sunday afternoons at 5 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
On Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
It is Dom time, and certainly, Dan, tell them where they want to go if you want to get Dom and Tommy John together here.
Yeah, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Please go like and subscribe to go watch the great Tommy John with Dom, and we're going to merge them together, and here he comes.
Hey, Tommy, welcome to Philadelphia. How often did you beat the Phillies, Tommy?
As often as I could.
Thank you very much. That man should be in the Hall of Fame. So we saw you on this Yankees broadcast the other day, and it brought to light your career. And as much as I follow this stuff, particularly the statistics, I knew just walking around now, which everybody should know, 288 wins. 26 of your games were blown saves. See, right there. That's over the 300 mark. Those relief pitchers should be making the case. And the guy asked you, out of nowhere, I guess, why are you not in the Hall of Fame? And were you kidding when you gave us the Trump answer?
You don't know me very well. Almost everything I say is a joke. But I actually can't believe that the people took me seriously. They think that I'm not in the Hall of Fame because of Donald Trump.
Well,
Trump wasn't even running for politics back in that day.
Right,
so
but it's a Veterans Committee, though. I worry about them, Tommy. There may not be a lot of Trumpers on the Veterans Committee.
That's okay. If I get in, I get in. If I don't, I don't.
So, Tommy, are you a Trump supporter, though? Is that how this came up?
Yes, I am.
Why? What's the you're in Florida now, too, so how's the weather, first of all?
Well, yesterday it was very, very windy, very rainy, and it was like all day, blowing crazy. But, it's Florida is great. We used to live in California. We had an absolutely beautiful home on the 12th hole, at the Arnold Palmer course.
Oh.
And yeah, and we were in La Quinta, and we just, the taxes, and we were paying almost as much in state income tax as we were for federal, and I find that reprehensible.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I can see where some of that bent toward Trump might be. Tommy, too, the added thing with you, and I knew you were the name attached, of course. It's famous, although now they're calling it something else. And when you have your name attached to something that's significant that has become part of almost every young pitcher, we hear this constantly. You would think that gives
people are doing it electively now.
Electively, that gives it an added boost. And I got to probe you. I mean, I saw you in the interview, and I know you. You're an extremely nice guy. But I am my mode. Usually I do this with politicians, Tommy. Come on now, fess up with Dom. If I were you, I'd be out there campaigning to be in the Hall of Fame every day. I may have to take this on as another cause. It's outrageous. And I had to tell our producer here, yeah, there were some years you pitched 26 years. But longevity counts a lot. Nolan Ryan's about the only one that pitched as a starting pitcher, I think, longer than you. That's incredible.
Yeah, he pitched 1 year longer.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So, what's your theory why you're not in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know. People, I guess they think that my 288 wins were not as good as Burt Blyleven's 287. Or Jim Cott's 286 or 84, whatever it was. But, you got to win ball games. And if you win ball games, you're pretty good. And I won a lot of ball games. Now, the other thing I didn't hear you. I had 188 no decisions.
Okay.
188 games that I pitched that I didn't get a win or a loss. You take a percentage of those tacked on to 288, and I'm well over 300. If I get in, I get in. If I don't, then I'll go to my resting place wondering what happened.
People on YouTube are legitimately upset. They're angry that you're not in, Tommy. You should be in. You deserve to be in, and it's upsetting that you aren't.
Yeah, Tommy, let me ask you, is there anybody out there that's making this an issue? And, this happens. I grew up watching Richie Allen, Dick Allen, and I think that guy is a Hall of Famer. He had all the marks. He had you saw it, and you knew it when he first came up. I don't know if you played against Allen, did you?
Yes, I did. I played minor league ball.
Okay. And
against him.
And
I was traded for him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, I was traded to the Dodgers for Dick Allen.
Wow. Well,
from the White Sox to the Dodgers, and then Allen went to the White Sox and just tore everything up.
Yeah. So I watched that, and the same thing. He has Hall of Famer all over him, but maybe he doesn't have quite the statistics. You have the statistics. You have it all. Henry, you had a question for Tommy John.
Yeah. Hey, Tommy. So comparing you to someone like a Jim Cott or like you said, a Burt Blyleven, what makes you stand out above them? Because I know Jim Cott was famous for his glove. Burt Blyleven won a few championships.
Curveball.
Yeah, the curveball. What makes you so special? Why? What is your Hall of Fame case besides the total body of work? Do you have something that stands out in your mind that you should be remembered for besides the surgery?
Yeah, I'm a Trump supporter.
You didn't answer me. Well, what is it about Trump? You moved from a nice spot in California to Florida because of the confiscatory taxes, so I get that. But why Trump? What is it that you like about Trump?
When I went to the Yankees in 1979, Steinbrenner and Donald Trump were good buddies. And every time we had a Yankee party or whatever, Don and his wife would attend. And I got to know him back in 1979.
Did you think Hey, this guy is going to run for president someday, Tommy?
You kidding me? I thought he'd build. I thought he'd build some more skyscrapers.
Right.
But I didn't think he would run for president. I don't know.
Hey, so I want to talk about the surgery itself, Tommy. Dan here, one of Dom's other producers, and just the fact that it was so revolutionary when you decided to do this. It was a Dr. Job, I believe, that you were working with, and he proposed this and essentially told you, I think, he had 100-to-1 odds of this being successful. So take me through your mindset of it was so important for you to extend your career, or what made you want to do something like this?
I wanted to play baseball. And the only way that I could play baseball would be to have the surgery. Now, was the surgery a guaranteed success? Absolutely not. But I felt that Dr. Job would not BS me, and he would tell me the facts. And then I got the facts, and I ascertained that my words to him after he got done was, let's do it. Let's do, I mean, if I want to pitch again, and I wanted to pitch again, I've got to have this surgery.
So being a guy that was so far in the game as you were, did you have anything set up if the surgery went awry? Were you going to be a broadcaster? What did you have planned instead?
No, they wouldn't let me broadcast because I had a horrible stutter. And but yet I did broadcast. And I did some stuff for the Yankees, and then they brought in Susan Waldman. And I guess my stutter was not as bad as her femininity.
Well, so Tommy, do you have a website, Facebook page? Where can people go to learn a little bit more about Tommy John?
Go to Tommy John, go to hell.
I can see why this all happened, Tommy.
Oh, Tommy, you're great, man.
So
you go to TommyJohn25.net.
Okay, we will do that. Tommy, I hope there gets to be more attention now after what you did there, because it got our attention that people think it's a long time to get you into the Hall of Fame. Tommy, thank you. Thanks for joining us in Philadelphia.
You got it. And I just want to say one other thing. In 2025, there's a company out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, that's coming out with a documentary about me. It follows me through my Terre Haute roots, and my life in baseball, the surgery, the rehabilitation, and all the stuff that I went through. The documentary is going to be very, very good.
Now, it'll show you basketball at the University of Kentucky. You had a scholarship there, right? What position did you play?
I was a forward, kind of like Larry Bird.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh, man. I wasn't as good as Bird. But...
Exactly. Well, I think you made the right choice, and the Hall of Fame is next. And your name on a great medical procedure. That's pretty good stuff. Tommy, thank you. Thanks so much for coming on today.
Okay, and send me some cheesesteaks.
All right, we will do it. Thank you very much. Tommy John here on Talk Radio 1210. Henry, nice work. I know you were negotiating with his wife, getting him on and all that. Are you still on the side that says no? You're a stickler on the Hall of Fame.
I mean, his whole body of work is very impressive. It's hard to keep someone like that out of the Hall of Fame. I will admit
I'm in your camp. I'm not letting anybody into the Hall of Fame. There's a lot of guys that go, no, that shouldn't be the case. Mm-hmm. And it's got a broader argument. It's got the argument about you need to have standards, and there's got to be a cutoff and all.
There does.
But guys that just had to win 2 or 3 wins less than him, they get in, he doesn't. I don't see much difference here. Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, it comes down to some more accolades, and I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so, but a Trump supporter, but Trump did not keep him out of the Hall of Fame, as far as we know. All right, we were talking about VP Harris at the border today, and the main thing they're going to talk about is fentanyl. The former ICE director, Tom Homan, saying 13,000 plus during this surge have crossed the border that have murder convictions, in other countries. Wow. That's just a stunning number. We know this is happening across America. Are Americans going to factor this in addition to inflation? Or is it still going to be, I don't like Trump, I can't vote for Trump? 855-839-1210. Who should head up Trump's security? Let's go to, that's a side question today, Bo in Levittown. Hey, Bo, good afternoon.
Hey, Dom, here's my guy, and you can tell me if it's good or not, but I say General Patton. And the reason why is, unlike if they stopped them going to Russia, where the Russians would be speaking English now, he'll just go to Iran. And if they don't put forward who wants to assassinate President Trump, he'll make it the biggest parking lot on the planet.
Yeah, General Patton is, with all the big personalities of World War II, he's still in the top 5 or 6, without a doubt. General Patton, we'll put you down for that. Give us an answer outside the box, since this is such an area of contention. All right, the deportation thing will come up with Harris today. That's going to be Trump's pushback against this, against what she's going to do. Look, you have to say, she's got the playbook with the media help. Actually going to the border, when whatever she says, she was in charge, at least on paper, of the border and getting a solution. And she did her job. They didn't want a solution. And the biggest political mistake I've seen recently are Republicans coming up with this bill, knowing that Democrats just wanted to get a bill done so they can say they were serious about the border. That's all that it came down to. But I see the shock waves today. I see the polling, and the media is shocked that about 54 to 56% of Americans say they're in favor of mass deportation. They were not in 2016. Trump talked about the wall then. If you notice, Trump did not talk as much in 2016 about deporting people that were already here. It was about keeping more people out. Well, given what's happened during the Biden years, the point of emphasis with people is now toward, no, we need to also move people out of the country. I think there is pretty widespread support for that. And I think Trump has talked about, we're going to start with the criminals. And we have a pretty good idea who they are. 855-839-1210.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
Paul Pelosi. Big score that man made yesterday on the stock market.
How have they not been investigated? How is this not illegal?
And it's normal for 98% of your investments that you make in the stock market to return you millions.
The starting salaries for all these lawmakers, especially in Congress or even at the state level, they should all make what a cop makes.
Or you could be like Paul, just having a cocktail, sitting there in your underwear, trading stocks, and occasionally taking a hammer to the head.
Stop.
F these people. F these people.
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Do you have a property that you no longer want? Maybe you inherited the property. Maybe you're underwater in the property. Or maybe you're just a tired landlord, tired of dealing with tenants. Listen, I can buy those properties, and I'll buy those properties fast. I can close in 2 weeks. I buy properties cash. My name is Larry Steinhaus. Give me a call at 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I will personally answer the call. You can also visit easyOutRealEstate.com. Hey, this is Larry Steinhaus from Investor Schooling. Did you know I have a radio show every Saturday from 1 to 3? It's called The Larry Steinhaus Show, and it's sponsored by Investor Schooling. On this show, you will learn things about finances and things about money that you never knew before. But even more of a reason to listen to this show is how much fun we have. If you haven't heard the banter between me, Omri, and Dr. Deb, you haven't heard the greatest show on earth. Listen to this show this Saturday at 1 o'clock right here on WPHT, and I promise you will learn something.
The following is a paid commercial message.
Donald Trump's back, and he's out for control.
I would have every right to go after them.
Complete control.
I will wield that power very aggressively.
And he has a plan to get it.
Detailed plans for exactly what our movement will do.
It's called Project 2025, a 922-page blueprint to make Donald Trump the most powerful president ever, overhauling the Department of Justice, giving Trump the unchecked power to seek vengeance, eliminating the Department of Education, and defunding K-12 schools, requiring the government to monitor women's pregnancies, and Trump has also proposed severe cuts to Medicare and Social Security. Those are Donald Trump's plans.
Well, revenge does take time, I will say that. And sometimes revenge can be justified.
He'll take control, we'll pay the price.
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message. Paid for by Harris for President.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
Yo, Roy is Ford. We know your favorite station is 1210 WPHT. WPHT.
All right, Dom Giordano's show. All sorts of statistics out there today that ICE has still 13,000 cross-border with murder convictions, and about 15,000 have been convicted of sex crimes. A lot of it going on. So why Harris going to the border? You might think tactically, strategically. Of course she is. Because she has the ability to just pretend that none of this happened. She wasn't the border czar. And the media is not going to be that pressing on it. So people not paying attention take a look at this, and they say, look, she really cares about fentanyl. And nobody else has done anything about it. So I'm a little unclear. At various times, Trump has talked, DeSantis more, but Trump a bit, about attacking the source of it in Mexico. And that's exactly what we ought to do. So just on the other side of the border, we have people maybe sometimes in remote areas, but we have the ability to ferret them out, drones and the like, and to take them out. Now, is that a popular position? Yeah, I think it is. I think it shows that we are not going to mess around. You'll have some people say, well, that's a warlike act on Mexico. They can say whatever they want. Mexico is masquerading as a country. It is a source of just all kinds of difficulties for us, including American businesses who get a few feet over the border and got a workforce that's underpaid versus American workers, and then try to send products back here. It goes round and round and round. Every year, it's another issue with Mexico. So it will be interesting to see if the Trump response is more direct on this. This is what we're going to do. Didn't do it in the first term. The emphasis more there was on keeping people out. The wall, which you don't hear about as much, it's more now proactive, doing something about it. All right, Dan or Henry, this is cut 8. Here's Jesse Waters yesterday, because this got underplayed, talking about SWAT leaders testified that the feds did not tell them anything about the uptick. Now, Trump should have been getting in Butler the top security just because of the threats that we know of. But what about the Iranian threats? Here's what Waters said.
SWAT leaders said they weren't told about Iran's plot to kill Trump. And if they'd known that, it would have changed everything.
Were you made aware that Iran has ongoing assassination plots against President Trump that are active and ongoing right now as we speak, including to the run-up to July 13th?
I am not aware.
Was it ever discussed with you that an Iranian operative has transited Venezuela and was in the United States, according to FBI public notice made in March, recruiting hitmen to kill President Trump?
It was not.
Were you made aware on July 13th or on July 12th that day the FBI had arrested a Pakistani national, Mr. Merchan, with ties to Iran, putting down payments, actual cash, down payments to recruit hitmen? No. Were you aware that that same operative were recruiting women as spotters and recruiting protesters as a distraction? A fairly sophisticated plot being run by a foreign state actor intelligence agency? No.
Not aware.
Mr. Sullivan, in your experience, would that change how you operated? Would that heighten your level of coordination, assets?
Absolutely, Mr. Waltz. It would be a tremendous game changer.
The feds were hiding the Iranian threat from Butler authorities and then delegating all of the responsibilities to them.
All right, here's one point on this. I agree with the sentiment here of what they were doing and how this should ratchet it up. But the protection and the people, do they exist anymore? The people that I want are literally Jack Bauer types. That's why it was my answer on the side question today. I want people who are driven, not on my watch, people that are creative, relentless, and they don't need to hear about Iranian hit squads. But the point is, upon hearing about that, if you did, would that not ratchet this up more? Maybe. The roof was too hot seems to be what went on here. So is it just Trump? Some of this is because there's an animus here at the upper levels. They're not going to give Trump this top level of security at Butler that day because they're standing on protocol, goofy protocol, not the threat, but who gets it? Only the president or the president's wife, that kind of thing. What the heck? This is broader than just the Secret Service, FBI. It's a downturn in the country where we have people in position that are not driven to be the best and the brightest on this stuff. You see it. You see what we've seen. Some of it's DEI. Some of it is just, and particularly when it comes to Trump, they're thinking, well, if Trump had been shot and the worst happened there, so what? They apparently could live with it. They're going to go home. It wouldn't be, oh, my God, my career. How did I let that happen? I don't hear that. Now, the agents that protect it, yes, they did put their life on the line to get in between, et cetera. But the overall mechanism here, so it's going to be interesting when he goes back to Butler to see exactly what they do. And we'll see if it's at a level. I mean, taking a victory lap for what they did, and that's what they did, the Secret Service, at the golf course. That wasn't good at all. The guy was in the weeds there for 12 hours. So are we expecting too much? The argument is, well, Trump shouldn't be golfing. Trump shouldn't be doing these big outdoor events. If he weren't doing those two things, they'd be able to protect them. And then you have to ask, what is wrong with America? That's exactly the challenge they should rise to. And if they need more money, more resources, more whatever, then that's where we ought to be going. All right, let's go to Rick in, I've never heard of this place. What is this? Orwigsburg. Hey, Rick, where is Orwigsburg?
Orwigsburg is, you know where Cabela's is on 22? Okay. In between Reading and Pottsville.
Okay. All right. In between Reading and Pottsville. All right.
All right. There we go.
All right. The wilderness. Orwigsburg. Yes. The wilderness. Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful country.
I've only been to Reading once to give a speech.
We got to do an event out in Orwigsburg now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We're putting it on the map, Rick.
Trump rally in Orwigsburg.
Yeah. So what do you have today, Rick?
Listen, Dom, I've been listening to you for a long time. I'm originally from Bucks County, born in Kensington. I am in 100% agreement with. I'm a red team captain for Donald Trump for Orwigsburg. Went to Harrisburg twice with Hannity and he and I'm going out to Butler on the 6th.
Good. That's going to be a great event. Yeah.
It's going to be. Yeah. Listen, I told the gentleman I spoke with earlier. I was in from 66 to 73. Luckily, I stayed in country. A lot of my friends came back in black bags. They didn't die for this. My grandparents came here in 1914 from Germany, and they came the right way through Ellis Island. That's the way everybody should come. You got to be checked. You got to be physically checked. You got to make sure you're coming here not to sponge off the government and become a cockroach leech, and take away from seniors like me and people that are sick and elderly. And, I got a friend from Venezuela from down the shore where I just left, and he's going to be a citizen next month, and I'm going down to see it.
That's the right way.
The right way.
Exactly.
And that's, listen, this is the greatest country in the history of the world. Oh, go ahead, honey. And there's absolutely no reason why we should lower our standards and bring everybody to trash.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you very much, and thanks for your service. Orwigsburg. Yeah, I've been to Reading once, and not exactly a picturesque. No, I was there for Seinfeld, too. Luke got his tickets. All right, they do bring some big acts in.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so it's 855-839-1210. That's how you get on board. Jump in, hit us on the side question. As I said today, Trump in Michigan. In addition to that, hope you have a chance to see Inside Story on Sunday. Question came up as we get into the last month or so. The Harris people are spreading their money around to every swing state, maybe slightly more in Georgia and Pennsylvania. The Trump people apparently are taking $78 million and putting it almost exclusively for advertising into Pennsylvania and Georgia. So the point I made is the point I wish the Trump people would get. Yeah, I get a little bit of Georgia, but I'm taking the lion's share. $50, $60 million. I'm plunking it down on the table and going and getting more. Whatever you have to put into Pennsylvania. I don't care if it's $500 million. You win Pennsylvania, and it's going to be over. But the inside polling of various insiders that I talk with, they're thinking we may not know the Pennsylvania results. 48 hours is the over-under. 48 hours. Can you imagine the tension around that? Because I think it's playing out. It's going to come down to that. Imagine from 8 o'clock on election night, 48 hours plus, we're waiting to see what the result is in Pennsylvania. That's unacceptable. But I think that's where we're headed. And again, win Pennsylvania. It's fine to be in Michigan. I'm not counting on Michigan. And I'm telling you honestly, there's not going to be any landslides here by anybody. If Trump wins Michigan that night, I will be surprised. Not so much Wisconsin, but I'd be still surprised. But I do think he's going to win Pennsylvania. And Georgia, with the tightening up of the election laws big time, I think is not a cinch, but coming pretty close to it. If that happens, he's going to be president. If it doesn't, he's not. Pennsylvania. 855-839-1210. All right, jump on board a little bit later. We'll talk with Dave McCormick, who's making a bit of a surge here in the Senate race. But with Harris on the border, McCormick, I've heard him on several shows yesterday, has a real plan to how to go at fentanyl that I think Trump ought to be talking about, including the use of drones. But I think ratchet it up. Are the American people really going to say, yeah, we want kids to continue to die from fentanyl? I don't think Trump ought to bomb drug cartels. Is that really going to happen? I don't think so. They may not want boots on the ground. I get that. But we have the technology that we could cripple this. 855-839-1210. That's how you get in. All right, crazy time of the year, right? Back to school, kids in school, activities, football, big now, tailgating parties, all that stuff. It's a great reason to take that stress away and just put it on Captain Chucky's. Let them be your meal planner. Get the all-new wild shrimp scampi ravioli. Chucky's teaming up with Vera Pasta, offering lobster, crab, and now wild shrimp ravioli. Remember, too, order that new Bang Bang Jumbo Lump crab cake. I had it this week. Ro wasn't feeling well, so that's what I had for dinner. I'm putting it on the menu at Captain Chucky's every week now. This is a 5-ounce Jumbo Lump breaded crab cake with a kick for those who like to spice it up with some heat. But check out the soups. We're going to be getting into that season soon. The desserts, appetizers, sides, they're all there with only the highest quality ingredients. Their Gulf shrimp is a huge hit. It's always wild caught, never farm raised. And my favorite, that Dom roll. You got to have the Dom roll. One website, welovecrabcakes.com. welovecrabcakes.com. Headed to the shore, Captain Chucky's at theshore.com.
Wow, honey, have you seen the electric bill?
Yeah, it's out of control. But have you heard of Navien tankless water heaters?
Tankless? How does that even work?
Well, instead of constantly heating and storing water, it only heats water when we need it. So much more efficient than our giant tank heater.
That sounds great. Let's look into Navien.
Already on it.
Imagine all the hot water you need only when you need it. Bulky tanks are history. Navien high-efficiency tankless is the future. Compact, wall-hung units free up floor space, lower energy bills, longer life than tanks, and a 15-year warranty. Find out more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie, and one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
Bob Casey supported sanctuary city policies that let criminal illegal immigrants onto our streets instead of deporting them. Casey voted over and over again to fund sanctuary cities, making our neighborhoods less safe. After an illegal alien was arrested for domestic assault in Philadelphia, instead of deporting him, they let him go. Thanks to sanctuary city policies Bob Casey supported. That same criminal, released under the radical policy Casey voted for, went on to repeatedly rape a 5-year-old girl. It could have been prevented. It should have been prevented. But Bob Casey failed us. The U.S. attorney said this young girl was raped because of Philadelphia's sanctuary city policy. Bob Casey voted over and over for this madness, putting our families, our children, at risk. We've had enough of Bob Casey. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. SenateLeadershipFund.org.
Tune in to Crash Proof Retirement Show. Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Phil Cannella and Joanne Small. The Crash Proof Retirement Show. Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210.
The back-to-school savings event is here at Pesser Chevrolet. Drive away in a 2024 Trax 2RS at $298 for 36 months. Or electrify your commute in a 2024 Equinox LS at $249 for 24 months. Enjoy top-rated customer service and unbeatable deals. Don't wait. These offers won't last. Experience the difference at Pesser Chevrolet, Philadelphia's trusted Chevy dealer. Check us out at PesserChevy.com. Call 267-343-9094 for details.
Julia owed the IRS thousands.
I was paralyzed with fear.
Then
I heard a commercial for Optima Tax Relief.
Optima Tax Relief is the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and experts in the Fresh Start Initiative.
Optima Tax Relief settled my IRS tax bill.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
It was amazing.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
Tropical moisture remains in place as we head into the weekend. Clouds today with some showers around, especially during the afternoon. It'll be humid with a high 78. Shower chances continue tonight with some areas of fog, low 68. And for Saturday, mostly cloudy with a few showers possible, high 76.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. For over 35 years, we've grown by offering our clients more offices, more lawyers, and recovering more than $20 billion. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, broadcasting from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter.
All right, Dom Giordano show. What is our buddy, the head of the Catholic League, up to? Bill Donahue said Thursday that Vice President Kamala Harris is smart to skip the Al Smith dinner in New York, given her record of opposition to everything Catholics believe in. And that is exactly right. She's also ignorant of Catholicism. She's the one that attacked a federal judge along with a couple of her colleagues because he was a member of the Knights of Columbus. I guess the Columbus thing set her off there with that. Here is Newt Gingrich. This is cut 6, making that same point that the Trump people have to do more. And by the way, an area where Trump is starting to do better that's shocking people in Pennsylvania is Scranton, because it's still heavily Catholic, pro-life. I know, well, why did they vote for Joe Biden? Well, he's one of their own, the Marquis of Scranton and all that. This is cut 6. Here's Gingrich.
The truth is that I think she's afraid to go to the Al Smith dinner. She's the most anti-Catholic presidential candidate since James G. Blaine in 1880. Wow. And all of the anti-Catholic laws passed in that era were called Blaine laws. So you can imagine how strongly he was. Look, when she was a senator, she's interviewing in public, in a senatorial hearing, nominees who are Catholic, and she says, you belong to the Knights of Columbus. Well, the Knights of Columbus is over 2 million people, voluntarily get involved, have pancakes on Saturday morning, raise money for charity. The idea that there was somehow something mysterious about this whole Catholic thing, you could tell that she has an edge. Many people on the left dislike the Catholic Church because it is a bulwark of belief in right to life. It's a bulwark of belief in God, and it's a bulwark of belief that, in fact, our job is to try to understand what God wants us to do, not try to become gods of our own. So there's a huge underlying hostility between the left and organized religion. By the way, her vice presidential candidate as governor closed every single church in Minnesota during COVID, but allowed the Mall of the Americas to stay open so you could have retail therapy.
Right.
Now,
right.
I mean, I don't know how much more anti-religious you could be than Tim Walz.
All right, just one thing I would add to it, though. Where are the bishops? Where are the cardinals? In an election like this, they could be determinative. I mean, what's their teaching? What do they say the stakes are? What are they saying that people ought to consider if they're a faithful Catholic? I wouldn't want them, and you wouldn't want them to say, oh, you got to vote for X, Y, and Z. But that's a good point by Bill Donahue about Harris. Well, I think it's not scripted per se, the Al Smith dinner. She has to interact a little bit and try to be funny, gentle humor. You know how it goes, right? And instead, she's bypassing it. Okay. She sees with this, though. And a lot of it is just anti-religious freedom. All right, 855-839-1210. And in Pennsylvania, that is a critical turnout thing. I don't know, Catholics, what percentage in Pennsylvania. I know nationwide in presidential elections, it's usually 26% or so, 25%, somewhere around there. Pennsylvania might be 30. Are they aware of Harris and this backstory and the left in general? Except for the fact the bishops and cardinals are right there with them pretty much, and they've ceded ground on this. So this isn't Biden who can fake it. I'm not saying in his own mind he might be devout, but he flies in the face of what you think are the broad teachings of the Catholic Church, if you can figure them out anymore. All right, Scott in Mount Laurel on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Scott, afternoon.
Hey, Dom, I just was hearing a thing about Iran and the threats. Are the Democrats trying to say that Iran was behind the shooter in Butler? Because that seems preposterous.
No. But what was said during that is, would you not have ratcheted up knowing these threats that were out there? Why was this level of security so low? To your point, even if it were normal security, how are they not able to stop this maniac, Crooks?
Yeah, I mean, they have no argument. I mean, they can't. Even if they don't have enough security, there's no way they should have let him on the stage. I mean, that's the obvious thing. The other thing with Iran, though, is if I were Trump, I would pivot and say, why do you think Iran wants me dead? Because I squeezed them, because I was doing a good job for America. I was protecting Israel. I was taking out their leaders. as opposed to, obviously, they'd rather have a Harris administration that will not squeeze them and will give them money.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other point he certainly could be making with this. But the solid point he's making, Scott, the other day, I'd make that too, maybe first, is where is Biden on this? Shouldn't Biden be sending a message publicly to Iran, what's going to happen if we have any whiff of this?
That's right. I mean, we should at least be able to unite on that. I mean, there's no reason, but you know why? Because it wouldn't play well with his base, and or with the Democrat base, and that's the sad reality of it.
Yeah, we had on last weekend. I taped Kelsey Grammer. He said he had multiple conversations with people in Hollywood that he's still friendly with, and they were unhappy that Trump was not killed.
Yeah. Oh, they've convinced themselves that. It's kind of like the end always justifies the means for them. And they've convinced themselves that the country is, it's all one lie feeds upon the other. They have this false premise that even though he's already been president, that's the amazing thing, that somehow, a Trump presidency would destroy the country. He's been president, and we've seen it didn't destroy the country, and yet they still can convince themselves to believe that and then build all these other fantasies on top of it.
Yeah, if they were making this argument in 2016, it would be preposterous that he's Hitler. But they've had 4 years of him, and none of this happened. Hitler is not letting 4 years go by before he strikes. It doesn't work that way. All right, Scott, who heads up the protective services for Trump?
You got to go with Superman. I mean, the guy could be anywhere. He could catch you out of a falling plane. He could block bullets. He can get people out of the way with his heat vision. He can even reverse time. If the bullet's coming at you, he could reverse time and get you unshot. Go back to where it was when you weren't shot. Who could protect you better than Superman?
All right, good one. We should have taken Superman off. Come on now.
I mean, all the superheroes, really, right?
Yeah, well, why do they even do these films, though? Superman versus Batman and all the other stuff. You only need one person. Yeah. That's why, I know. But I mean, why? It's got to be a heavy lift as an artist to make a case of all these others versus Superman.
That's fair. That's
it's very. And you're seeing little.
I think Superman's the best superhero you'd want to protect you. You don't want Batman, right?
I love Batman. Yeah, I love
Do you really want Batman protecting you?
No. Oh yeah.
You got to send him a bat signal every time you want the guy to come help you.
Well, he's more limited than Superman.
Oh,
but Henry, little film though. You're seeing Megalopolis tonight, right?
I am. Yeah. Oh man.
All right. And Dan made a good point the other day that here, Coppola is making his film, talking about there's Trump people involved or something, and De Niro sees it as a chance to rant and go wild about Trump in the middle of that.
Yeah, why am I not surprised? No, John Voight's character in this movie is supposed to be loosely based on Trump, and I think that's part of the reason why Voight took the role.
He plays Trump.
It's a loose character.
And is Trump anti-hero, or what is it?
I'm not sure of his role in this movie at all.
Okay.
I have no idea what to expect from this movie because there's been virtually no marketing for it.
Okay.
It's kind of shrouded in mystery. I mean, all the reviews are either this is the worst movie of all time, don't see this, or
right.
This is peak cinema. You have to see this. Like, I think the Rotten Tomatoes score right now is at 50, and no one's rating it 50. They're either rating it a 0 or 100. It's very interesting to see how.
All right, now you'll learn over the time of producing day to day with us that one of my challenges is films that I can convince Roe to see also. Because, like with Dunkirk, she shut her eyes for 3/4 of it. That's what we had to live with.
Good.
I mean, yeah.
I do have Coppola trying his hardest, man. They're doing an IMAX Q&A for the movie, trying to promote it, and it's in Toronto, and De Niro's sitting right next to Francis Ford Coppola. Francis Ford Coppola makes the point that he doesn't really care about people's politics. Just listen to De Niro try to make it as hard as he can about politics.
I deliberately got people to make this film who disagree. I mean, there's actors in the movie that are voting another way, and there are people in it who have been canceled which way and right. And we in the movie we all work together happily and creatively. So it shows that it shows that I didn't want them to say, oh, it's some woke movie that it's just a politically, we're above the politics in making of the film, I thought. And yet still we were all liked each other and participated and made this film together. So I'm hopeful that we can work even with people who disagree with us to a higher goal.
Okay, just one final.
Here's Miro.
Just imagine Donald Trump directing this movie. It'll never go anywhere. It'll be so craziness. So that's all. We're not putting anything together because he doesn't care to hold anything together. He wants to destroy the country.
Oh my God!
And he could not do this movie. He couldn't do it.
How disrespectful is this, man?
Yeah, he is. He's here's one of the biggest big-time directors here with this, with De Niro, and he just is crazy. I would argue this. Well, we can ask coming up too. Who's the most crazed in their own way? Is it Stern? I vote for Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban thinks that he should have been president, and a dope like Trump. It's not even the politics. It's a dopery.
Yeah.
He knows what to do. How did a dope like this get to be president?
Cuban's on a heater lately.
Yeah, we have some of that.
So
and
yet, I used to love the guy.
Yet he did not run for president. Look at what you have to go through. He doesn't want to go through that. Okay, you can't be president.
And can I say one thing on that De Niro?
Yes.
Clip? He said Donald Trump couldn't make a movie like this. Yeah, no, duh. He's not a movie director. What are we talking about here?
Why are you just shoehorning Trump into this?
Right. He just couldn't wait. You can hear him edging forward in his seat.
Koba specifically making the point that it's apolitical.
Yes.
Like he doesn't want it to be some kind of woke movie, and De Niro just has to get in there, man.
Exactly.
It's so disrespectful.
Exactly. Oh, the memo should be don't work with him. I mean, that's what he's going to do. All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210. Jump in. Hit us on the side question, too, on Talk Radio 1210.
You have to answer for Santino, Carlo.
Mike, you got a little wrong.
Your weeknights are getting a whole lot better. With Jimmy Fallon 7 to 10 p.m. starting Monday, October 7th.
Honestly, I do mean this. What an incredible honor to join this lineup because, like, the thing you guys do that matters to me, you guys know your listeners. You hang out with them, you meet them, you do events. Like, that to me is amazing. That's why I got into radio. Is like, you want to be a part of the community. Like, I'm always on tour doing live events. I want to be part of the community, which is a fancy way of me saying I got to get out of New York a lot because I owe a lot of people money. But the point is, I'll be there.
Jimmy Fallon, weeknights 7 to 10 p.m. starting October 7th on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
This school year, make the most of it for your child or grandchild and make the call to Kathy Ganna and New Hope Academy in Yardley and Doylestown at 800-300-0003. Give your student all the tools they need for a great school year. Let New Hope Academy transform your child's life forever by helping them now. For over 3 decades, New Hope Academy founder Kathy Ganna, a pioneering educator and entrepreneur who created the NHA model, has been utilizing state-of-the-art solutions to uncover ways where your child could avoid struggling and succeed. At New Hope Academy, there's a student-teacher ratio of 2 to 1, allowing students to deal with many disorders, including high anxiety, social and emotional, and including bipolar. Do not wait. Help your students start strong. Remember, only the best teachers can work at NHA. Call for a no-obligation tour and consultation. 90% of NHA graduates pursue a college education. Call Kathy today at 800-300-0003. Online, newhopeacademy.net. Call New Hope Academy today.
Chase believes that having a place of your very own should be accessible for everyone. That's why we're offering homebuyer grants of up to $7,500 in select areas. It's just one of the many ways Chase can make your home buying dreams a reality. Visit chase.com/homebuyer or your local Chase branch. The Chase Homebuyer Grant is available on primary residence purchases only, on select products and subject to eligibility. All home lending products are subject to credit and property approval. Program terms are subject to change without notice. Home lending products provided by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC, Equal Housing Opportunity.
At PGW, safety is essential to delivering clean, reliable natural gas to Philadelphia homes and businesses. If you smell gas, call PGW at 215-235-1212. Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
See Joe Conklin's comedy show at the Sellersville Theater in Sellersville, PA. Saturday, November 1st with Norm Clark and Vince Valentine. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-688-6641. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-688-6641. That's 800-688-6641.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people. We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-575-6481.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Free speech lives here with Kale and Company weekday mornings on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
All right, Dom Giordano show. Should be a showdown at the border today. Bill Malugian, who I saw the other day was voted the most attractive person on all of Fox.
Really?
And I think he is. Oh, yes, a guy I could say that. Absolutely he is. It's the hair right away. I see a guy's hair, and it's like, oh, man. Put that hair on top of my head.
I could see it, yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just looked him up. Yeah.
He has a new ICE report that reveals the Biden-Harris administration has let in 425,000 illegal immigrants who are convicted criminals. That's enough to fill Michigan's football stadium 4 times. The following illegals are roaming the country: 13,099 murderers, 15,811 rapists, and 425,431 convicted criminals. Essentially, what that is, it means migrants who are encountered by DHS but no longer in federal custody. And here's a little bit of Malugian, Henry. You have that one? Telling us what he hopes to ask VP Harris today. Will he get a shot at the border of asking her this question about ICE?
For any reason, and when Kamala Harris visits the border today, if she takes any questions, I'm hoping she does. One of the things I'm hoping to ask her is, back in 2019, she campaigned for president as saying she wants to get rid of all ICE detainers, saying they tear families apart. You know, one of the biggest things we hear from ICE is there's this misconception about them that they're kicking in doors of grandmas and little kids and going after people who are just working and here for a better life. The people they're going after right now are the worst of the worst. We're talking serious felons, murderers, sexual assaulters, rapists, that sort of a thing. And when ICE detainers are not honored and these local jurisdictions just release people back out onto the streets without notifying the feds, it's dangerous for everybody involved. It's dangerous for the local community who might have a sex predator back on their streets. It's dangerous for ICE because instead of having someone just handed over to the jail to them in a secure environment, now ICE has to use their resources to develop intel and try to find this guy and find out where he's going to be, and then use 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of their officers to go apprehend this guy who could be violent. Maybe they'll fight back. Maybe they won't want to go back into federal custody. So it's dangerous for everybody involved. In these sanctuary jurisdictions, it's going to come to a point here soon. Donald Trump is vowing to end them. I had a phone call with him the other day. I said, well, how are you going to end them? What are you going to do? And he said, well, if it comes down to it, I'm going to strip federal funding away from sanctuary cities. I said, well, how far are you willing to go with that? Will you pull FEMA disaster money from them? He said, yes, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. We don't know where Kamala Harris stands on sanctuary cities right now. I'd love
All right,
to ask
so we got the point from Trump. He's got to drill down on that more, though. Going after sanctuary cities, how far are you willing to go? You heard what he said. Even FEMA money. All right, that's serious stuff. Coming out, one of our favorites, Beth Ann Rossica, education expert, but also she's been charting Kamala Harris and the question of female voters. How does Harris measure up on that? And what does Beth Ann think is the counter then that Trump should be making? Dave McCormick at 2:30, and we'll get a winner on the side question for the week here on Talk Radio 1210.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Make your home renovation dreams come true with Emmons Remodeling.
We handle everything from concept to completion, delivering beautiful, functional spaces for you and your family to enjoy.
Our seasoned designers and construction experts ensure your project is completed on time and on budget.
Give us a call today at 856-885-6677 or visit callemmons.com.
From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
This is a special alert to anyone owing the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes or with unfiled tax returns. Write this number down, 800-585-0344. The IRS has ended COVID forgiveness and they are cracking down. Call Tax Relief Helpers now to hear about our tax debt reduction programs. If you're facing liens, levies, an audit, wage garnishment, or already in a payment plan, we still can help you. You may qualify to have your tax debt settled for a mere fraction of what you owe or for other resolution programs. Tax Relief Helpers has tax agents available now for a free consultation. TRH has already helped thousands of taxpayers qualify for these generous relief programs, earning them an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. If you or your business owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands to the IRS, you don't have to be afraid anymore. Call our relief hotline now to see what savings you may qualify for at 800-585-0344. 800-585-0344. Once again, that's 800-585-0344.
Look at you. Your life is under control. Errands? Done. Groceries? Got 'em. It's a good time to give yourself a reward. You know the one. Your favorite tasty cake treat. Is it the delicious crimpet or the mouthwatering candy cake? No matter where you are, choose what feels right and enjoy. You've earned it, and you know you deserve it. Tasty cake, accept no substitutes.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust. Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything, from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free.
Endurance has paid hundreds of millions in claims. Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-291-3183. That's 800-291-3183. 800-291-3183.
Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
It is Dom time. By the way, more details this hour on this Bill Malugian report from ICE that's now all over the place. 13,000 crossed the border with murder convictions. I gave you some of those numbers. Harris at the border today. ICE releases this, which is shocking for the Biden administration. But it's, I don't think she'll take questions. But it's out there. It's something the Trump campaign certainly can talk about. Beth Ann Rossica is education expert extraordinaire, but also writing at Broad and Liberty. She was analyzing Kamala Harris and women and female voters. And we've been talking about that. And we asked Lee Stefanik today, who gave a great answer, the congresswoman, about how the Trump campaign ought to approach this, not singling them out all the time as if they're just one-dimensional, but some of the things to consider with this. And I think with Harris, one of the biggest things to still pursue, if this isn't a winner, then common sense is completely gone in America. The low-hanging fruit are seeing these guys out there beating up on women sometimes in women's sports, stealing from them. It's stolen valor. If that is not a political winner, then I don't know what is, to be on the other side of that. I even think that more than the changing in bathrooms and all that. I know that gets people nuts. Maybe it's my competition complex here, but I just see, Dan and I have interviewed for Reading, Writing, and Reason, women who are tremendous and can't come close to mediocre male runners. So let's go to Beth Ann Rossica here on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Beth Ann, welcome back. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me on the show, Dom.
Well, Beth Ann, first wanted to talk with you about Upper Darby High School. It was, and I told some people today that are more insiders, they didn't fully know about this, and they were shocked they'd be spending the amount of money they're spending, $1.1 million, and something that's going to take students 40 to 60 minutes a day in the morning to get into the building, and something this drastic without a school resource officer who's armed. What are your thoughts on Upper Darby High School overall?
Well, I've written about Upper Darby many, many times and their academic decline and the myriad of issues that are going on there and have been going on for quite some time. So, you know, I have really mixed feelings about this specific issue with the monitors that they're putting in. I mean, 1.1 is an extraordinary amount of money. However, what I will say is that districts waste more money than that on all sorts of other garbage that is, you know, far inferior. So for me, the money is the least of the issues, because if it is actually something that would keep students and staff safe, then I think that that's a no-brainer. $1 million to keep everybody safe is certainly worth the money. The question becomes, is this really the best way to instill a feeling of comfort and security inside of a school building? And I think that the bigger issue that I've seen raised by parents and community members is that this was very much rushed through. This is a really big purchase. It's a really big change. And the fact that there wasn't a longer dialogue, there wasn't a community task force, advisory force, parents, people be able to give comment and to really discuss through the pros and cons of this. I think that this is just yet another example of Upper Darby not taking everybody's feelings, thoughts, considerations into the mix before making such a paramount decision for these schools. Because it's not just the high school, it's the two middle schools as well.
Well, I would agree with that, but we have this compromise. People were asking me about it the other day. My understanding of it, I think, is pretty clear, but you may know better. In the budget with Shapiro, and it was our Representative Sheeran and others from Souderton, they got that the state will give $50,000 to the school district to have a school resource officer. They wanted to demand they must be armed with a firearm. The compromise was that'll be on the school district to decide. I still think that's better, Beth Ann, because with this inconvenience of this detection system, if you had a maniac coming into that school, they can go right there or come in from another door. I'd rather have someone there that I know is going to take them on.
Right. No, and I agree. And I don't see them as mutually exclusive areas. I think that we absolutely need school resource officers in the buildings, and in an area like Upper Darby, having somebody armed probably makes sense in order to be able to keep everybody safe. I just think that once again, Upper Darby makes knee-jerk decisions, and they don't really look at all of the aspects. I mean, I wrote recently, maybe a couple months ago, about the whole cell phone issue in school. I mean, Upper Darby could be taking steps to remove cell phones from the school, which would also help to create a much better environment for the students. So there's a lot of things that they could be doing that they're not doing, and it feels like this was a knee-jerk reaction, and to your point, a lot of money.
Woodbury, Beth Ann, is the latest to do this. Now, you're an education expert. My expertise comes from being on the front lines teaching. I think you've had some of that. It's going to be fairly difficult to be doing that with the removal of the phones. The execution of it is important. I'm in favor of it. I can't imagine having kids distracted by that all day long, what that's like.
Well, and I've talked about this before, Dom, the cell phone issue, and there are schools in Pennsylvania that have outlawed cell phones. Kids are not allowed to have cell phones in school. And what we're seeing is that student engagement is very much increased, and teachers don't have to fight for the attention of kids. I mean, there are two ways to do this, and actually the legislature approved funding through the Safe Schools Act to use towards the elimination of cell phones. They can purchase these, they're called cell phone bags, that the phone goes in and it's basically locked so that you can't access it during the day. But I also think that you can simply have a policy that phones have to stay in your locker, and if they're out of your locker, then you get a detention, and you take progressive disciplinary action.
Right.
We just have to change. We have to change the environment. Everybody's become so accustomed to having access to their cell phone 24/7. We've got to change that environment. And I think that the safety issue really is, the cell phones are a part of that, because a lot of what leads to kids bringing cell phones to school, or weapons to school, is the feeling of not being safe. And part of not feeling safe is the garbage that kids post on social media, the cyberbullying that goes on, and kids bring weapons because they think that they need to feel safe. And if we could improve that climate and make kids feel emotionally and physically safer through the removal of cell phones, I think that would go a long way to addressing many of the issues that we're seeing in public schools.
Beth Ann Rossiga with us. And Beth Ann, writing over at Broad and Liberty, this has become a touchstone issue here. I see the election shaping up. We had the Teamsters president of 96,000 Teamsters in Pennsylvania on this week. He didn't fully concede, but basically he did, that Trump has broken through. We know this now, big time, with union members, Teamsters, and the like. And yet, when it comes to these pesky women in the suburbs again, this is an area, and that's why the tell was, the Trump people know this, he started talking about being a protector this week. Now, you've been writing about Harris and women, which isn't a layup for her, and maybe there's some material, there's some thought process that the Trump people should be looking at, because I think you've hit upon several things with VP Harris and women.
Yes, well, I wish that the Trump campaign would call me, because I'd be happy to talk to them about messaging that they could 100% improve upon, because their messaging has not been stellar either. However, what I am talking about, I've completed 3 of a 4-part series on the case against Kamala in Broad and Liberty, and my most recent one on Monday talked about the conundrum of womanhood. Harris and the Democratic Party cannot even define, or refuses to define, what a woman is, but they champion themselves as, we're the leaders of, reproductive services for women in the country. And I really believe that their positions are completely antithetical from one another. You can't support women if you can't even define who and what they are. And, you opened this up with the thought of women having to compete against men in sports. I absolutely agree with you. It's abhorrent. It's ludicrous. It makes no sense. And it is low-hanging fruit. And that is a message, and it's been polled. The majority of people in this country, regardless of their political affiliation, do not think that boys should be able to compete against girls in sports. I have 2 teenage boys. There is no way I would let them compete against a girl in a sport. It's just, it makes no sense. And I think that messaging has to be made very, very clear. Harris continues to refuse to answer questions on that issue.
Mm-hmm.
She refuses to answer questions on at what point in time is abortion acceptable or not acceptable. I mean, I talk in my article that, I was a former Democrat. I am still a generally pro-choice woman who lives in southeastern Pennsylvania. The demographic that, the Republicans really need to have any hope of winning. However, even as a primarily pro-choice person, I have very clear lines in the sand about when abortion is acceptable. And where Waltz has come from and where I believe Harris comes from is absolutely unacceptable.
Let me give you a tough question on that, though. In broad strokes, what is the line in the sand? I'm talking about this in political terms because that's where we are, that people like Trump and others ought to have top of mind. Is it 15 weeks or is it even more than that?
Well, so, Dom, and, again, I'm probably not the general listener to your show. I don't consider myself conservative on a lot of issues. But in this case, for me, Pennsylvania, we have a 24-week allowability for abortion. And I'm comfortable with that. As a pro-choice person, I'm comfortable with that. I know that some people feel like it should be at the heartbeat. Some people, have different lines. For me, my personal line is if a baby can be born and live with life support, then to me, that's
right.
where the line is. Then it's a baby. It's not a choice. It is a baby. It's a human being. And again, I know that this is a very hot button issue. But again, if the mother's life is at risk, nobody's ever saying that if the mother's going to die, you let the mother die, to have the child be born. But that's the messaging that the progressives and particularly Harris and Waltz want people to believe. And they're unwilling to answer those questions. Killing a baby at, 9 months in utero is murder to me. There's
absolutely.
No question about that.
I don't sense this is going to be quite the issue it was in 2022, but I do sense it is going to be top in mind for, shall we say, reluctant voters, younger women under 30, 40 that don't come out all the time or vote by mail or whatever, and it's still there as the one pivot they have in the suburbs.
And I agree with you, Dom. I think that there are a lot of women who are not willing to do the research because I can tell you that here in the suburbs, if I were to talk to even, Democratic moms and I said, are you okay with abortion in the 8th month? Most of them would say no.
Mm-hmm.
But the Democrats' messaging, Harris's messaging on this issue has been very good. The message here should be Pennsylvania already has a law on the books that allows abortion up to 24 weeks. Nobody's taking that away. Neither Trump nor Harris, will have anything to do with that unless, they try to do something in Congress. But this is codified in Pennsylvania already. And I don't think that anybody's doing a very good job of explaining where things are in Pennsylvania and why it really shouldn't be that big of an issue for voters, particularly in the Southeast.
Where's the best place to find your work, Beth Ann? At Broad and Liberty, where else?
Yes, broadandliberty.com. Occasionally I have some pieces in Delaware Valley Journal, but for the most part, you can find everything that I write in broadandliberty.com.
Thanks, Beth Ann. As always, have a nice weekend.
Thanks. Take care, Dom.
All right, good stuff, and we'll continue to talk with her about that. She really has written insightful stuff about Kamala Harris and women. I still think the low-hanging fruit, done carefully here, is this issue. It translates into all the nonsense that goes with this when it comes to women. And the abortion issue, handling that appropriately, of course, is big. All right, but right now it is time for...
It's Dom's Money Melody.
Okay, today playing for a pair of tickets to see Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra's The Story of Philadelphia Sports Through Music. It's Saturday, October 26th at the Cherokee Performing Arts Center in Marlton, New Jersey. For tickets, visit joeconklin.com. Dan, what do you have?
Today, Dom, we're doing a cover song, looking for the cover artist. And today's cover artist, Dom, not known for singing very often. Instead, actually known for being a tough guy, playing a lot of parts that I think fit the answer of our side question, who would you hire as your security detail? So, Dom, today we want to know who this guy is. Very well known for a Christmas movie, I'll put that out there. Singing Secret Agent Man. It all ties together. Take a listen. We want to know who today's cover artist is.
Of danger.
Not bad, not good, but not bad.
Better than most.
Every move he makes, that's one more chance he takes. Odds are he won't live to see tomorrow. Secret agent man.
We're looking for the cover artist, Dom, today. A person that's not known for singing, known for playing a lot of people who would fit the answer of our side question today, Dom, of someone who you'd hire as your security detail.
You know, it'd be interesting to find out what cover song has sold the most. Because I can't imagine with most of these anybody buying any of this stuff at any time.
I think it's House of the Rising Sun.
By whom? Who
or
covered it?
That, I think Imagine and Blackbird are up there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I meant somebody who covered, though.
Whitney Houston's probably, I would think.
Whatever she covered.
No, it's the And I Will Always Love You.
No, but I'm saying a cover artist. Most of them, it's bad.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so you're saying just strictly a cover artist. That's Tom Jones.
Ah, okay. All right, 855-839-1210. Hit us with that, and you are off to see the great Joe Conklin here on Talk Radio 1210.
High school football is back. High school football is back. And so is the Friday Night High School Football Scoreboard Show. Join Daryl Dobis, James Bailey, and Matt Dents. Friday nights 10 till midnight. For a rundown of all the big high school games in the region and expert analysis. The Friday Night High School Football Scoreboard Show. Friday night at 10. Only on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Do you know when the best time to buy investment properties is? It's now. It's always now. You just need to learn how to buy them correctly. Go to investorschooling.com and sign up for a complimentary class this Thursday night and learn how to buy investment properties and make money every time. That's right. That's what we teach. We teach how to buy investment properties and make money every time. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now. Take a class this Thursday night at 7 o'clock. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Don't go through life ignorant about how to become a millionaire. Learn how to invest in real estate, the stock market, precious metals, and learn from an expert. At Investor Schooling, we teach these things and more. We only provide education, and we will teach you how to leverage real estate, how to leverage the stock market, and how to leverage precious metals to make more money than you've ever made before. Go to investorschooling.com and take a complimentary class this Thursday. We will see you there, investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are having two fabulous back-to-school specials. The 2024 S60 front-wheel drive sedan and the exciting electric C40 each can be leased for 36 months for $369. Due at inception would be a down payment and taxes and registration fees. But in New Jersey, the C40 has no tax. The $369 is an incredible payment on each of these Cherry Hill Volvos. Visit Cherry Hill Volvo. Our team would be honored to partner with you.
The following is a paid commercial message.
I'm Kamala Harris. Here's a few things I believe. Middle-class families, like the one I grew up in, they want common sense solutions. You want lower prices and lower taxes. I believe you want to just not get by, but you want to get ahead. We must create an opportunity economy where everyone has a chance to get a car loan, buy a home, start a business. And I believe we can make that happen.
Kamala Harris's plan?
Bring down costs by cracking down on corporate price gougers. Make homeownership more affordable for families. A middle-class tax cut for 100 million Americans. And make sure billionaires and big corporations pay their fair share so you can keep more of the money you've earned.
Instead of being focused on the politics of the past, we need to be thinking about the future and how we make it better for families like yours. I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Harris for President.
There's breaking news all day long from around the world, and sometimes all that noise makes it hard to hear about what's happening right here at home. With the free Odyssey app, getting your local news plus breaking news is easy. And even when you're not near a radio, stay connected with what's going on right here by listening live and push alerts. Just download the free Odyssey app and search and follow your local news station, and you're good to go. The local breaking news to get you through your day at your fingertips on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
It's Dom Money Melody.
Where has all the money gone?
Show me the money.
All right. Who is it that's covering this song today? Let's hear the clue.
There's a man who leads a life of danger.
Think a tough guy.
Everyone he meets, he stays a stranger.
He could always be singing this about himself and the parts that he plays.
Exactly. All right, let's try Gary in Springfield on Talk Radio 1210. All right, Gary, who's covering that?
Hey, Dom, this is a better Bruce from New Jersey, Bruce Willis.
Wow, I wouldn't have guessed that in a million years. Henry, do you hear Bruce Willis there?
I mean, now I didn't before when he played it for me, but when he told me
now,
who it was,
I still
do
don't
hear
hear it. That's a test. I still don't hear it. That's remarkable.
Here, take a listen for a second.
There's a man who leads a life of danger.
That's still a stretch. His singing voice is much different than, and I know every...
I want to say this is actually released right around the time as John McClane, his appearance as John McClane in Die Hard as well, too. Great Christmas film.
Yes, it is. We'll get to that. All right. So Gary in Springfield is a winner, off to see Joe Conklin. All right, we got the side question going on. Somebody to head up the Trump detail. Dave McCormick will be here in about 5-6 minutes. Kamala Harris at the border today. Fentanyl is what she'll try to talk about. She'll stand in front of the fencing, I guess, even saying the Biden administration had something to do with putting that up. I know, ludicrous. Over and under, she won't take questions. Bill Malugian, though, has got a great one. That new report out from ICE today. This is what Trump needs to process. You know, and it's hard for him to do it at a rally. He thinks people get bored if he's making a logical point that's not overly entertaining. Well, this is the thing that Harris has been involved in. Over 15,000 people coming through, they release murderers, rapists, another number, 425,000 with serious crimes. And this is from ICE, just out. All right, let's go to Gary in Newtown. And Gary, you're on Talk Radio 1210. Hello, Gary. Gary? All right. Sorry about that, Gary. Let's go to Robert in Bensalem, Talk Radio 1210. Afternoon, Robert.
Hey, Dom, Dan, how are you guys doing today?
Good.
Real quick, I was reading through the indictments on Adams up in New York, and I'm seeing things like upgrades on plane tickets and things like that, and I'm thinking this might be political. But one of the things he's being charged with was he took like $1.3 million in illegal bribes from Turkish nationals, which might be bad enough, but he had Americans say that they made the donations, which is even worse. But what really kills me is he then submitted it for the government match, which in New York is 8-1. So he turned that $1.3 million in illegal bribes into $9.6 million in campaign funds.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's not political.
Well, yeah, I get your point, but I still think, Robert, there's part of this because it took so long to get to this. Could I say that if he didn't turn on Biden with the migrant thing, it wouldn't have happened to him? All I know is they're coming after him harder. And it's Menendez. It's the Cuellar guy. This stuff has been going on and it never reached a boiling point.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that, Dom. I'm just thinking because I was looking to confirm that suspicion in my mind. But I think what it is they actually got him on something, and they're adding a bunch of other things on.
Yes, that's it.
The process is the punishment. You know what I mean?
Exactly right. Yep.
For my side question, I wanted to go a little outside the box, and I was going to go with Chuck Norris. Just because he's thorough and he's badass. Now, I have to admit I was a little disappointed when he admitted that he used a stunt double, but I was relieved to find out that it was only for the crying scenes. I'll leave you on that. You guys have yourselves a wonderful weekend, okay?
I had Chuck Norris on once, Dan, and the people that were producing back then, they thought like, oh, my God, this is the end of the world, the greatest person you could possibly get. And he was big. I mean, at that point in time, he was a rage of the Internet.
He was. He was the greatest meme to ever exist.
He was.
You still kind of hear it filtering through sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like he's on the level of internet history as That's What She Said when Michael Scott first said that in The Office and it took over the internet as well.
I would say that he was right up there without a doubt. All right, Dave McCormick making a closing charge here against Bob Casey Jr. 3 debates coming up, but more importantly, I heard Dave in an interview talk about fentanyl, which Harris is going to be talking about momentarily today at the border. He is next here on Talk Radio 1210.
Tropical moisture remains in place as we head into the weekend. Clouds today with some showers around, especially during the afternoon. It'll be humid with a high 78. Shower chances continue tonight with some areas of fog, low 68. And for Saturday, mostly cloudy with a few showers possible, high 76.
Weather sponsored by Pfizer.
John Legend here. How do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC. Ask your healthcare provider and book at VaxAssist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
California Psychics is the real deal. They helped me out, totally changed my attitude, totally got me psyched to start my business and to take a new path in my life.
At California Psychics, we only connect our customers with the best. We reject 98% of the psychics who apply to us, so we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
We're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
See Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra at the Media Theater in Media, Saturday, November 16th. It's the story of Philadelphia sports put to music.
So much joy and laughter. Brought my friend who's a Giants fan, and I thought that he was going to hate it, but he laughed the whole time.
Well, the orchestra was phenomenal.
His daughter is really, really talented. His niece, all his brothers.
They're unbelievable.
Go Chip Snapper! That's Joe Conklin and the City Rhythm Orchestra at the Media Theater in Media, Saturday, November 16th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. JoeConklin.com!
Tune in to Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Phil Cannella and Joanne Small. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210.
Broadcasting live from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
Well, in the moment, it was this incredible thing because President Trump had called me up onto the stage. So I started to go up onto the stage, and then he said, no, I want to talk about the border. And there's 15,000 people. He said, Dave, go ahead and sit down, and I'll have you come up later. And I sat down, and within a minute, the bullet started. And President Trump was 15, 20 feet in front of me.
Now when you see that, knowing how preventable that was, what are your thoughts?
It looks to me like an organization that is failing miserably, that has a huge leadership problem, that doesn't have the ability to adapt. We got to get answers on this.
All right, that's Dave McCormick running for the Senate against Bob Casey Jr. If he wins, Dan, I have to retire the Junior stuff all the time. I don't know if I can do that. And he's on tomorrow night's show with Brian Kilmeade, the great Brian Kilmeade, on a bus tour with him. Dave is with us on Talk Radio 1210. Dave, welcome back in. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, good afternoon, Dom. How are you?
Well, good, and you have to be feeling pretty good. They are, I like the guy that heads them, the Philadelphia Firefighters and Paramedics Local 22 has endorsed you, and every time they do something like this, going across the line, there's blowback and people go after them. Particularly, Dave, it's shocking to get an endorsement against the Casey name. I'm not saying Bob Casey, but I mean the Casey name when it comes to unions. That deserves kudos.
Yeah, well, thank you. I was honored to get their support. But, Brian, when I did that TV interview with him the other day, he asked me, what do you think about taking on the Casey dynasty? And I said, the one thing about dynasties, they all end at some point. And this is an example of a guy who's been in office for 18 years, who is a career politician, who has shown himself to be weak time and again, and who has adopted and supported all these liberal policies. He's voted 98% of the time with Biden and Harris. He'll vote 98% of the time or better with President Harris if she should be elected. And that's just out of step with Pennsylvania. And so I'm making my case to the firefighters and to the FOP. The Fraternal Order of Police have also endorsed me, switched their endorsement from Bob Casey, 44,000 men and women in blue, because I offer, I'm an outsider. I'm a strong leader. I'm a West Point guy. I'm a combat veteran, and I'm a guy who's run businesses and created jobs right here in Pennsylvania. And that's what people want. They want strength, not weakness. And Bob Casey's been weak and liberal. And so that's why the firefighters, I think, came on board, and I'm honored to get it. And, I told them, and I'll say to you and all of Pennsylvanians, I will have their back. I will have the back of the men and women who wear various uniforms to keep our communities safe and to respond in moments of crisis. That's the foundation for a safe and orderly society.
Now, you're one of the best I've heard, Dave, at being very methodical but aggressive on what we have to do around fentanyl. And one of the reasons we wanted to talk with you today, on point, that's going to be Harris's major pitch at the border. We don't know if she'll take questions, probably not, because there's a really damaging ICE report out today. But give us the principles of what we're not doing, or we're not doing enough that we can knock this out.
Yeah, and I will answer that. But, boy, this is a woman in Vice President Harris who has said, she supports wide open borders, supports sanctuary laws, supports not having a wall, supports a pathway to citizenship for 11 million. So the fact that she's going to the border and flip-flopping her positions, just like Bob Casey's flip-flopped on this, is an example of how vulnerable they are on an issue which has been a crisis. Listen, here's the fentanyl problem. We have precursors from China that are shipped illicitly to Mexico. We got to stop that. We got to treat that like it's plutonium coming into our country. We got to interdict ships. We got to get tough with China on that. We have cartels in Mexico that are manufacturing fentanyl. We got to go after the cartels. On day one in the Senate, I would put in place legislation. I would propose legislation that would indicate that the cartels are terrorist organizations, and that we would use our military selectively, drone special operations to go across the border, destroy the manufacturing facilities for fentanyl, the distribution networks. 3, we got to secure our border. We got to finish the wall. We got to make sure we have the right fentanyl detection equipment. We got to fund our border patrol. All of those things Bob Casey and Kamala Harris have been opposed to until they're for it. And it's we got synchronized flip-flopping going on here with Kamala Harris and Bob Casey. And then the final thing, which is heart-wrenching, Dom, I had 4 fentanyl families in my home in Pittsburgh about 2 weeks ago, and they each told their stories. I mean, this is poison that gets hidden in recreational drugs, in legal drugs, innocents being killed, 4,000 Pennsylvanians last year. We got to deal with the demand side. We got to deal with helping people be able to identify fentanyl, helping people break the addiction. We don't have enough facilities. It's also tied to the mental health crisis. So we got to stop the supply from the cartels, but we also got to reduce the demand here in Pennsylvania and around the country. And that's the kind of agenda I'd put forward.
Give me an idea, Dave, of, well, hopefully you're elected. That's going to mean we take back the Senate. We ought to be able to do this. Interdicting the Chinese ships, that is something I hadn't heard before, and exactly right. The easier thing to do, if we have the will to do it, I'm talking about the technology and everything else is there, is taking out their drug labs. We obviously have the intelligence. DeSantis really drilled down on this during the campaign. What does Casey say if this will come up during the debates? And I hope you really press it, because Casey will then have to defend what? That we're worried about Mexico's reaction to this?
Who knows? I mean, he is so reluctant to take a position. I honestly don't know what his view would be. I mean, the shocking news you mentioned just before you asked me this question, the fact that 13,000 convicted murderers have been, I just heard this, have been apprehended at the border and then released into our economy under the amnesty. This is consistent with the amnesty program and that legislation that Bob Casey and Kamala Harris are supporting. I mean, this is absolute madness. I mean, when President Trump gets up on the stage and talks about murderers and rapists coming into our country, and the mainstream media, wave their hands and say he's overstating the case. Here we have the director of ICE, the current director of ICE, Immigration and Customs, saying that 13,000 convicted murderers were released. I don't know how Bob Casey defends that. It's indefensible. And I believe their entire position on the border, Bob Casey has now gotten tough. I mean, he ran a commercial, Dom. It's the height of hypocrisy, Bob Casey tough on the border. I mean, are you kidding me? For 3.5 years, the border's been wide open. It's a crisis beyond our wildest imagination, and the policies of Biden, Harris, and Casey have led us to this point. And now all of a sudden they're doing an election year conversion. I don't think it's defensible. I don't know how they'll try to defend it. I don't know how voters could possibly believe it.
Yeah, I wanted to underline, too, I'm thinking of hiring that guy that's in charge of ICE now, doing this during a Biden administration, Dave. That's really the story here. This isn't a Trump guy or anything.
Yeah, that's right. Well, listen, I think we've got people, despite our disappointment, there's a lot of great Americans, great patriots serving in our government today, serving in our armed forces, serving in our military, our CIA, all these places who want to do the right thing and are being just so hindered by this weak liberal failure at the top. And so I'm heartened to see it. He's a great American, and it took a lot of courage to speak the truth.
Are you going to be at the next Trump event in Butler, Dave? You were there, very close by. We played that cut of you with Brian Kilmeade. Are you going to be there in Butler?
Yeah, I expect to be there, and you and I have spoken about this, but I thought that was a moment. As you know, I wrote an op-ed for the Journal, Wall Street Journal, the next day, and I said an inch away from catastrophe, and that's what I think it was. And I think the thing that most Pennsylvanians and Americans will remember is that iconic picture of President Trump standing up and putting his fist in the air. And I can tell you, as someone who's been in combat and seen people get shot at, it's a rare person. 99 people would have been in the fetal position underneath the podium, and it takes a rare person to stand up and show that kind of courage and strength. And Lord knows, we see the Middle East on fire, Putin on the march, China rattling a saber. We need we need strength. These cartels destroying America, we need strength right now, and I think that was a good representation to the people of our great country that President Trump has the strength that we need to get our country back on track.
3 debates coming up, am I right? I mean, that speaks well of you and Casey. I mean, I think you guys should have 10 debates. I mean that seriously, to break through that people can see the contrast. When are these coming up?
Well, there's 2 agreed upon, and then I'm pressing for a third in Pittsburgh. There's one in Harrisburg on October 3rd. There's one in Philadelphia on October 15th, and then I'm hoping that he'll agree. I've agreed to a third in Pittsburgh. And listen, this is critical because I think we have 2 things. We have a stark contrast between the leadership and common sense policies that I will bring to the Senate versus what I think is demonstrated weakness and very liberal policies that Senator Casey has supported. But then second, listen, this man's been in elected office for 30 years, and he's been in the Senate for 18 years. And essentially what's being asked here is for the people of Pennsylvania to rehire him for 6 more years, or said differently, fire him from a job that he spent a long time in. And I think it's important that he have the opportunity to stand up there on the stage and defend his record. I don't think his record's defensible. I think this is a contrast and a choice between more of the status quo, which 80% of Pennsylvanians think is our country's going in the wrong direction, and change, and somebody who's going to shake things up. But the voters will get to decide. And the thing I like about it, frankly, Dom, is that there's been these vicious commercials run about me that are absolute lies, and I'm going to have the opportunity to talk about those lies and put Senator Casey on the spot for why he's running a campaign that's focused on attacking his opponent, who's never been in elected office, instead of running a campaign about what one would hope would be a very strong record as the senior senator from Pennsylvania. He doesn't have a record to run on, so his approach has been to spend. The other thing is he's saying that the problem is that I'm outspending him. Good Lord, I wish it were true. He's outspending me dramatically because he's been able to raise money from Chuck Schumer and everybody else. So these are the issues we'll be able to talk about in front of all the viewers in Pennsylvania.
Dave, where do we go for all things Dave McCormick?
DaveMcCormickPA.com. You may see my bus on the highway, but to learn about my positions and where I'll be, DaveMcCormickPA.com.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you very much.
Dom, good to be with you. Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, fentanyl coming here with Harris today. You heard that approach, interdict the Chinese ships, etc. 855-839-1210. The lightning round is straight ahead. The NFL is flying by, but you still have time to start the season with a big return on FanDuel. In partnership with Valley Forge Casino, America's #1 sportsbook, you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place that first $5 bet. You can build a same-game parlay for the Sunday matchup with the Eagles. Boy, I don't know. I'm taking the under on Jalen Hurts as far as passing yards. Henry, jump in. Do you have anything good for Sunday, a nugget?
I was going to disagree with you there and go over. I think Todd Bowles is going to play a bit of a soft defense, and the Eagles are going to have to throw it around the yard.
All right, Dan, you break the tie.
I'm with you, Dom. I'm with you. Because you got a Devonta Smith who's got that concussion, who's going to be dealing with that. AJ out, and you got Dallas Goedert who's going to be bracketed the entire game, and a quarterback who can't throw to the center of the field.
Oh, all right. So there's a dispute here. You decide.
I'll give you a different bet then.
Yeah, give us another bet.
Johnny Wilson anytime touchdown.
Oh my God, that must be $1 million for that one.
I mean, if we're not going to have Smitty, someone's got to step up.
All right, so just visit FanDuel.com/Dom to make every moment more this season. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. You have to be 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Carson Daly, and on behalf of Dr. Alfie, Katie Neal, and all of our guests, I want to thank you for joining us for I'm Listening, Odyssey's mental health initiative. Our goal is to open our minds and hearts to more mental health conversations, because talk saves lives. If you missed the special or want to hear it again, you can find it at imlistening.org and on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY. For more resources on your mental health journey, please visit imlistening.org. Thanks again.
Hey,
Did you hear? Wawa has classic hoagies for just $6.
Any classic hoagie?
Yeah, any classic hoagie.
What about the cheesesteak?
$6.
Meatball?
$6.
What about the Italian hoagie?
It's $6 for a classic. I shouldn't even have to ask, but what do you want for lunch?
Hoagies at Wawa, of course.
Right now, get any Wawa Classic Hoagie for $6. Gotta have a Wawa.
Chase wants everyone to be able to have a place of their own. That's why we offer mortgages that help you purchase your new home with down payments as low as 3%. To find out more about our low down payment options and other ways Chase can make your home buying dreams a reality, visit chase.com/homebuyer or your local Chase branch. Loan amount, loan value, and loan product type limits apply. Geographic restrictions may apply for jumbo loans. Products are subject to credit and property approval. Program terms are subject to change without notice. Other limitations and restrictions apply. Home lending products provided by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC, equal housing opportunity.
Enhance your home's curb appeal with new doors and windows from Emmons Roofing and Siding.
Our high-quality products offer style, security, and energy efficiency.
And you can choose from a wide selection of styles and finishes from major brands like Anderson or Provia.
Call Emmons today at 856-885-6677 or visit us online at callemmons.com.
From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Honey, I'm going to Wawa for dinner.
Okay, but Ben wants pizza.
Yep.
And Nick wants a burger and fries.
Right.
Oh, and the twins, they won't touch anything except for mac and cheese.
Exactly. Wawa has something for everyone for dinner, so I only have to make one stop to make everyone happy. So, what do you want?
Well, if you're going to Wawa, I have to have a hoagie.
From burgers to hoagies and everything in between, Wawa has dinner for everyone.
When was the last time you watched your home movies?
Disasters strike unexpectedly. Every year, American families lose the one thing they'd run back into a burning building for, their family's memories. Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Adam. We started Legacy Box to help save your family's most important recorded moments so you don't have to worry.
Load Legacy Box with your old movies, film reels, and shoeboxes of photos.
We work our digitizing magic, converting those memories right to the cloud so they're safe and accessible forever.
It's fast, we always send your originals back, and it's done right here in the USA.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box. Better Homes and Garden, Real Simple, and Inc. magazine are all talking about Legacy Box.
New York Times columnist David Pogue says, have them digitized. I wish I'd done it sooner. Take action. Save your family's memories today with Legacy Box.
Go to legacybox.com/value to get an incredible 50% off your Legacy Box. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off while supplies last. legacybox.com/value.
The following is a paid commercial message.
A lot of congressmen talk about real results, but Brian Fitzpatrick actually delivers for real people like Tom.
I believe that Congressman Fitzpatrick does have his finger on the pulse, does feel the needs of businesses, and recognizes what small businesses mean to Main Street America.
Janice.
I would say 100% that I support Brian Fitzpatrick for Congress. I know that he has our interests at heart. He's just really a man of great integrity.
And Pete.
Congressman Fitzpatrick is very responsive, especially to veterans' needs. I can't think of any other person I'd rather see as my congressman than Brian Fitzpatrick.
Delivering for Pennsylvania. That's Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick. Vote on or before Election Day, November 5th. Paid for by America's Credit Unions PAC of Credit Union National Association, Inc., americascreditunions.org, and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. America's Credit Unions PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
The time has come for the final test.
We usually call it the lightning round.
Dom's Lightning Round, sponsored by Cherry Hill Volvo. Enjoy back-to-school savings on a 36-month lease of an exciting C40, only $369 per month. Down payment, taxes, and registration fees, they're due at inception, except no taxes on the C40 in New Jersey. Visit Cherry Hill Volvo today. We had on the show, before we go to the Lightning Round, the woman who runs the election cycle in Luzerne County. Somebody just put up on Twitter, this woman, we got to get back again. She's got a list up of the things they're doing transparently, who's assigned to do it in the office, and checking the box as they go through each one of these things to ensure a transparent election. Can you imagine Lisa Dealey and the gang over there in Philadelphia doing anything like this? Just a remarkable thing on Twitter that we'll get into more on Monday. All right, let's go to Joe in Bordentown. Joe, who's guarding Trump?
Muammar Gaddafi used to have Amazonian East German women guarding them. So I think that would be a good idea.
Oh, boy, with Trump. All right. Joe in Westchester. Joe, quickly, who is guarding Trump?
Well, I decided that since in Israel, Netanyahu and President Herzog, nothing's happened to them. So I tried to find out the name of their Secret Service, and Google wouldn't give me a direct answer.
All right, the head of the Mossad, Joe. Got you for that, which is a very good answer. Drew in Upper Darby. Drew, who is it you want guarding Trump?
Hey, Dom, thanks, man. You said go outside the box. So, hey, Dom, in the first Godfather, when the five families meet, they're not meeting for themselves for peace. They just found out that they got the task and the contract for the protection of Donald Trump. So the five families are going to guard him.
All right. And to cap the week, the great Joe of Exton. Joe, who's guarding Trump?
Yes. Hello, Dom, and good afternoon. The person I would choose to protect Donald Trump is Alexander the Great from Greek history. If he was great back then, he'll be even greater in 2024.
So on brand. So on brand. I don't know. Joe's call. Robert at Ben Salem. I like the Mossad. Henry, who's your number one answer?
I like Joe in Bordentown's call of the East German women.
The East German women. Dan.
I like Chuck Norris. The five families were good ones. Alexander the Great, the Amazonians. I'm leaning towards Joe just because he got me there with he was great then. He must be greater now.
All right, I think, oh boy, tough call here. The clock is ticking. All right, let's go with Joe of Exton.
All right, Joe.
Put him into the hat. Let's get the final winner of the Letters to Trump book.
Yeah, Joe in the hat. Letters to Trump on the board. Monday, Dom, we asked for the greatest storytellers of all time. Jeff in Monmouth called it with Paul Harvey won the day. Word pronunciations on Tuesday for words that are pronounced two different ways and which one's the right way. Dwayne in Valley Forge, realtor/realtor. Wednesday, a piece of media that reminds you of fall. That could be a movie, film, TV show, song. Movies are films, I guess. Autumn in New York by Frank Sinatra from Bruce in the Northeast on Wednesday. Thursday, Sidekicks number 2s. Chris in Burlington said a very notable number 2, born that way, Prince Harry. And then you just heard it, Alexander the Great as a protector for Trump and others. So Dom, on to the hat now. Let's get that drum roll rolling if I do indeed have that, and I do. I've rolled a number 1, which means Monday's winner wins that Letters to Trump book. Jeff in Monmouth with Paul Harvey. Congratulations, Jeff.
All right, great week here. Some of the guests, kudos to producers getting on, particularly Bill Hamilton, the Teamsters guy. If you have a chance, check out on Channel 6 Inside Story. Didn't have the right tie today, but the purple tie worked. That's all I'll tell you about. There was a lot of good stuff with it. It's 11:30 on Sundays. And follow on Twitter at DomShow1210, at DomShow1210. I'll tell you more on Monday. This Luzerne County operation is exactly the type of thing you need to do to restore faith in the election cycle. Sadly, Philadelphia says, what the hell, we'll do whatever we want. And that's what we're going to have to try to rein in a great bit. Richie always next to take you home for 4 big hours. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
For more expert appliance shopping advice, here's National Appliance Warehouse's own appliance guru.
Hello, let's talk premium. These are top-of-the-line appliances that dream kitchens are made of. If you're planning an investment like this in your home, where you buy is as important as what you buy. At National Appliance Warehouse, we're committed to delivering the superior buying experience you deserve. Our showroom features beautifully displayed premium appliances of every major brand, including highly sought-after Sub-Zero, Wolf, and Cove. Our team of gurus is well-versed at guiding you as you navigate the same appliances you'd find in the most magnificent homes and kitchens of cooking
cooking enthusiasts, and the National Appliance Warehouse team has the expertise to properly deliver and install your stunning new appliances.
Fall into incredible savings now at National Appliance Warehouse. Purchase a qualifying Sub-Zero Wolf and Cove appliance package and choose 3 years of additional warranty or a rebate up to $2,500. Click nationalappliancewarehouse.com or visit their showroom in tax-free Wilmington today.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
Bob Casey supported sanctuary city policies that let criminal illegal immigrants onto our streets instead of deporting them. Casey voted over and over again to fund sanctuary cities, making our neighborhoods less safe. After an illegal alien was arrested for domestic assault in Philadelphia, instead of deporting him, they let him go. Thanks to sanctuary city policies Bob Casey supported. That same criminal, released under the radical policy Casey voted for, went on to repeatedly rape a 5-year-old girl. It could have been prevented. It should have been prevented. But Bob Casey failed us. The U.S. attorney said this young girl was raped because of Philadelphia's sanctuary city policy. Bob Casey voted over and over for this madness, putting our families, our children, at risk. We've had enough of Bob Casey. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. SenateLeadershipFund.org.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-688-6641. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-688-6641. That's 800-688-6641.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people. We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-575-6481.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Young people everywhere are making a difference.
Special Olympics has changed my life so dramatically.
It's helped me a lot to be fearless, in the real world.
My friends I've made through Special Olympics are the best people I've ever met in my life.
I truly realize that what I'm doing is for a great cause.
And it's not about disabilities, but it's about celebrating their abilities.
I've made a difference. Now it's your turn to make a difference.
Get involved at SpecialOlympics.org.
I'm Cammie McCormick. Hurricane Helene was destructive, and it continues to cause widespread problems throughout the Southeast. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
You got a lot of wind damage. You had 140-mile-an-hour sustained winds. It kind of barreled through that northern part of the state and barreled into southern Georgia.
In Georgia, the death toll has climbed to 11. Governor Brian Kemp.
It is still very dangerous out there. The loss of life that we've seen, a lot of it has been by fallen trees because of saturated ground. And even though the winds are starting to die down, there's still trees literally falling. One fell at the mansion across the driveway after we left this morning.
And in North Carolina,
this is one of the worst storms in modern history for parts of western North Carolina.
Governor Roy Cooper.
Flooding will continue through the weekend in some areas and may even occur in areas that don't typically flood.
In Tennessee, more than 50 people were 4 waiting to be rescued from the roof of a hospital northwest of Memphis that's surrounded by floodwaters. Israel dropped a massive bomb on a building in Beirut today, targeting Hezbollah leadership. The explosion so huge it flattened buildings